Oh, officially we entered the Kyoko route. Ooh, interesting. We are now in Kyoko's route officially. Wait, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab water. Okay, I am back. A few days have passed since Mana's sudden transfer. So far, Mana has clearly failed to fit in her new class. Of course, neither of us had ever had an old class school. It's something completely new to us. Although she shows some confusion at the going ons around her, ultimately she insists on playing on her own rules. At home, the situation is no different. It goes without saying that there was no empty room in the house ready to accept a sudden new member of the Oribe Kazoku. Mana seemed to have assumed she could stay in my room, but after my begging and pleading, it was decided she would stay in Kokoro's room instead. Yeah, I don't want to remember that epic struggle right now. And they do it off screen. Now I'm serving Mana in the classroom environment. Here she seems even more socially lost than I did when I first arrived, but apparently people consider that to be a part of her charm. At lunchtime, people come and crowd around her desk to talk to her, though not as many as there were on her first day. Go Koichi, her beauty makes her seem so elegant and refined, but on the inside she's kind of an airhead. What a contrast. I get what he's saying, but what about Kyoko? She's nothing like Mana, of course, but in her own way she's very beautiful in appearance. And there's quite a contrast between her looks and her personality, just as Koichi said about Mana. It's just... She's sitting at her desk alone, silently. She's not looking at anyone or moving a muscle. She's beautiful, but in the way a doll might be. Unlike Mana, barely anyone ever comes and talks to Kyoko. She's not actively rejecting other people. It's more like she's trying very hard to be an inanimate object. What is it that makes her and Mana so different?
ええ、そうだけど。それがどうかした？
A curious classmate comes and asks her various questions. She responds with rather shallow answers. It's not that she's in a bad mood though. She probably considers talking to her classmates far less boring than having to endure listening to teachers during class.
本当に？そうなの。でも、興味ないの。そういうもの。
Her attitude toward their questions is not friendly, and she doesn't even pretend to smile at them. Still, I'm very pleased to see that she's actually talking to them instead of just ignoring them. Now that she's left the village, even temporarily, I hope she takes the opportunity to discover something valuable to her here. Tatoeba, there was no one else in the village who was our age. Maybe here she could make new friends. As the end of break approaches, our classmates begin to return to their seats, and Mana's face seems to sink ever so slightly. I'm guessing that she's starting to feel hungry. She must be waiting for lunchtime to come around, and so am I. Really. In the village, we never scheduled our activities during the day, as precisely as they do here. We just ate whenever we are hungry. Once we break for lunch, her expression notably brightens. She's even smiling happily as she picks up her bento and turns to me. And then...
こんにちは。
Okay, here we go. I was wondering how she would deal with Hotaru. I've been waiting for this.
兄さん、一緒にお昼食べようよ。
Kokoro and Hotaru show up, holding bento of their own. Sure, but what's up? There must be a reason they bothered coming all the way from their classroom.
ほら、この間京子さんと一緒にお昼食べられなかったでしょ。だからどうかなって思って。
I nod to myself. The other day, I was trying to help Kyouko get to know Kokoro and Hotaru, but we ended up touring the campus and didn't have lunch together that day. It's been more than a week at this point, right? And more recently, Kokoro was talking about getting together for lunch sometime soon too. I didn't expect them to show up here without telling me first, though. In that case, let's get Kyouko.
あの子ならもういないわよ。
Mana is looking at Kyoko's seat. I look, too, and see the same thing she does, a desk and an empty seat. You're right. When did she leave?
チャイムが鳴ったらすぐ出て行ったわよ。
I wonder where she went.
さあ、
Mana shrugs. She doesn't know, and apparently doesn't care either.
行き違いになっちゃった？先に行っておいたらよかったかな。
Kokoro frowns disappointedly.
まあいいんじゃない？すぐ戻ってくるかもしれないし。
That's true.
とにかくお腹が空いたわ。早く食べましょう、お兄ちゃん。
Okay. At Mana's prodding, I gather some empty chairs from nearby and arrange them around my desk as we all sit down and open our obento. I sense a lot of people staring at us. Yes, he's the only dude there, by the way. But I don't really mind.
いただきます。
Yes, let's. Mana merely nods at us, then opens her bento and starts eating without a word.
ところで
Hotaru has been observing Mana with great interest, now turns to me and speaks. I'm guessing this is the first time Hotaru meets Mana. So this is the most interesting interaction I've been waiting.
失礼ながらこちらの方は一体
That's right, I forgot. I never explained Mana's existence to Hotaru. Well, she's...
ホタルン、マナちゃんは私の姉さんだよ。
Before I can respond, Kokoro jumps in.
ココロンのお姉さん？うん、そうだよ。初対面だよね。
Hotaru stares. Kokoro looks back at her, puzzled, and then turns to Mana.
マナちゃん、私の親友の水月ホタルだよ。そう、よろしく。
Mana stops stuffing her mouth for a moment, and nods slightly in Hotaru's direction.
こちらこそよろしくお願いします。
I'm actually surprised how she's she's flustered here. Hotaru nods back, a little stiffly, then turns to me, with question marks writ large in her eyes. I say nothing and just nod. That seems to be enough for her to guess what I'm trying to say.
ホタルン、食べないの？あまり食欲ないとか？
Kokoro looks concerned.
食べます。はい。
She smiles at Kokoro reassuringly, then picks up her chopsticks. It looks like I should try to find some time to explain the Mana situation to Hotaru in more detail. I can't believe I totally forgot about Hotaru, man. Both Mana and Kokoro must have been very hungry, since they barely say anything while we eat. Meanwhile, Kyouko is still nowhere to be seen. It's been too long for it to be a bathroom break. Maybe she's holed up in the library prep room again.
ねえ、誠さん。
Nani?
はい。
Oh. Hotaru picks up a morsel from her obento with her chopsticks and brings it to my mouth. Are you giving it to me?
はい。ホタル、もう割とお腹いっぱいなので、よかったら食べてくれませんか？
Thanks. She must be full already, in which case I have no objections. Honestly, one bento of food isn't really enough to be a hearty meal for me. Oishi. The seasoning is a little different from what Azuki-san makes.
それはよかった。もっと食べますか？
Oh no. The emojis are being... Actually, what's Mana's reaction? Glad to oh, that's her line. May I really?
構いませんよ。ほら。
Her chopsticks pick up another morsel and bring it to my mouth.
ちょっと待って、ホタルン。
Kokoro leans forward and glares at me.
もう、兄さんも兄さんだよ。
What do you mean? I don't really understand why she's so angry.
抱いてるんじゃないですか？はい。もう一つどうぞ。
I like how she keeps doing it anyway. Hotaru pushes another bite into my mouth without skipping a beat.
また。
Kokoro scowls at me reproachably. Something tells me she doesn't like it when Hotaru feeds me. And what about Mana's reaction? But surely she can't expect me to spit out food that's already in my mouth.
小さい子でも恋人でもないのに人前でそういうことしないの。
Oh. Okay, I guess Mana didn't realize that was the social norm, and now that she piqued it and piqued her interest, I'm pretty sure it really piqued her interest there. Mana, who had been busily eating, suddenly freezes. Really? Hotaru had started feeding me so naturally that I just assumed it was a standard thing to do.
まあ普通は心の言う通りかな。そうだよ。恥ずかしいって思うの普通は。でも別に規則で決まっているわけでもないし、誠さんへホタルからの近づきの印ということで引き捨てならないわ。
Mana's eyes narrow as she fixes Hotaru and me with a sharp look. It's time. It's fucking time. Here we go.
心、こちらでは親密な関係の男女がこういうことをするものなのね。どっちかっていうとそうでない人はやらないんだけど。
By the way, I like the rainbow of their eyes. Kokoro has red eyes, Hotaru has blue, and Mana has yellow. That's amazing.
So?
Oh, alright, here we go. She nods, then swiftly brings her chopsticks in front of my face, loaded with some niku from her own bento.
さあ、食べて。お兄ちゃん。
No, that's okay. You should have it. She's been scarfing down her food practically from the moment we sat down, so she must be very hungry. And if my own appetite is any indication, one bento of food around here isn't enough to satisfy someone from our village. By the way, the reason why they have a stronger appetite is obviously because they're used to moving around a lot more, you know, so they're used to eating a lot more. Her lunch is almost gone already, so I'd feel bad to steal what little she has left.
じゃあ、こうしましょう。
She puts her niku back, and then reaches her chopsticks towards Hotaru's lunch. She picks up another bite of the same vegetable Hotaru has been feeding me and brings it to my mouth.
はい、どうぞ。
Just casually steals it. Just casually steals it. Hotaru stares at Mana, seemingly in admiration. Mana, that's Hotaru's food. You shouldn't just steal people's.
あら？だってもうお腹いっぱいでいらないんでしょ？確かにそう言いました。あ、いやー、1本取られましたね、これは。
Hotaru nods gravely, but with a playful smile on her lips.
マナちゃんもホタルの真似しないの。そういうことするのはそれだけ親密な関係の男女でしょ？
Oh no. It feels like that kind of pleading statement that Kokoro is gonna be like, oh, okay, I should do this too.
つまり私とお兄ちゃんならむしろして当然ということよね。それを言ったら私だって同じ立場だし。
Pressure there, huh?
おっと、本音が出ちゃったね、Kokoro.
Hotaru turns an evil grin on Kokoro.
羨ましいなら羨ましいって最初から言えばいいのに。そんなこと私思ってないよ。
As she protests, her cheeks redden all the way to her ears. She's so cute. I bet Hotaru was trying to get this reaction out of her too.
私も別に羨んではいないわ。当然の権利だもの。ほら、お兄ちゃん。
After dismissing the other two, she smiles sweetly and pushes her chopsticks against my lips. The look on her face is strangely seductive. It's almost like the way she looks when she's inviting me to bed. Oh, damn. She grins cattily as if she just realized something.
もしかして お兄ちゃんは口移しの方が良かった？
Damn.
うん。
She withdraws her chopsticks and puts the food between her own lips, then brings her face to mine.
ダメダメ、それはもっとダメだよ、マナちゃん。
Kokoro, panicking, sticks her face in between the two of us. And then she steals the food from Mana's mouth, almost kissing her in the process.
No.
Even Mana can't help but rear back in surprise.
おお、実力行使。ココロ意外と大胆。なんてことするのよ、この子は。だってマナちゃん言ってもやめてくれないんだもん。
Mana and Kokoro are glaring daggers at each other now. This conversation is taking a turn for the worse.
あなた、姉の私に指図する気？妹だからこそダメだって思った時は体を張ってでも止めるの。そう、いい度胸ね。
The two of them were slowly raising their voices, and were beginning to draw attention from the rest of class. At this rate, maybe it would be better to just let them all feed me from the beginning. Kokoro, Mana.
兄さんは、お兄ちゃんは口を挟まないで。
I can imagine Hotaru is really having fun right now. I guess I had no choice but to withdraw. What on earth am I going to do with them? We're mostly finished eating, but Kokoro and Mana are still arguing. But thanks to several well-timed jokes from Hotaru, it hasn't developed into a real fight. Well, arguments are an important type of communication too. Mana might be slipping into the role of Oribe Mana more easily than I imagined she would. Though, awkwardly, she looks uninterested in the outside world, and there are probably a fair number of things she likes here too. Like the food, for example. Now then, I excuse myself to go to the bathroom. But after I'm done, I hesitate to re-enter the classroom. The thought of Kyouko crosses my mind. When I left the classroom just now, she still hasn't come back. This must mean she really did go to the library prep room. I decided to go and check. As expected, when I knock, Kyouko replies, so I open the door. Konnichiwa.
Makoto-kun.
She looks up in surprise from whatever book she was reading. Were you reading? I hope you don't mind me disturbing you.
もちろん。どうぞどうぞ。
She stands up and pulls out a chair for me. I sink into it gratefully. Yes, this is nice. This room really calms me down. It's quiet, and the smell of books fill the air. It's so different from the classroom despite being part of the same school building.
それで何か私にご用でしょうか？
She looks at me uncertainly. Not particularly. I just wanted to go somewhere quiet. I explain what happened in the classroom with the other girls at lunch.
それは大変申し訳ないことを。妹さんたち、せっかく来てくださったのに。
She bows apologetically over and over again. Don't worry about it, Kyouko. It's not like you knew they would be coming. Anyway, considering what ended up happening, she probably would have felt very awkward if she did stay. This really is a nice spot. I look around the room again and nod to myself in satisfaction. It's like an oasis of solitude in the middle of the huge crowd. That is the school and its students. It's quiet and calm. I feel at peace here. Of course, it's not that I have a problem with crowds or noise. I even like them. But too much of anything can tire an entire person out.
はい、私もそう思います。
She smiles happily and nods in agreement, but then she looks concerned.
でも、それなら私がいるとお邪魔でしょうか？
Where would you be? I'm happier when you're here than not. I mean, I came here looking for her in the first place.
ならいいんですけど。
So, are you always here during lunch break?
そうですね。 毎日必ずというわけでもないんですけど。
She places a bookmark in her book and closes it.
お昼だけ中庭で食べたりとか。でも最後はここが多いですね。
Do you avoid the classroom because of how noisy and annoying the lunchtime crowd there is? She smiles uncomfortably.
いいえ、どちらかというと、私がいるとみんなが煩わしいと思うんじゃないかって。
You? Annoy them? なんで? I can't imagine why anyone would be annoyed by Kyoko's presence when she's so quiet and unassuming.
私、基本的にノリが暗いから、いるだけでみんなでワイワイやっている空気を損なうと思うんです。
Honestly, I'm pretty sure she's overthinking things.
友達が欲しいって言ってたのに、変な子だって思います？
No, I don't think that. Maybe that's just how it is for someone with Kyoko's personality. If she feels more comfortable here in the library prep room, there's no need to force herself to spend her break in the classroom.
自然な感じで溶け込めるようになりたいと思ってはいるんです。でもどうすればいいのか全然わからなくて。
Well, my Kotodama could probably solve that instantly. But that's probably not the kind of solution Kyouko is looking for. She wants to develop her own social skills, not rely on someone else to make things go smoothly. To be honest, I don't know. I really don't know either. I made friends with Koichi easily enough, but that's more thanks to his social skills than mine, I think. But maybe you could try reaching out to other people, just like you did to me. It's not the fanciest method, but it might end up being the fastest. The most direct way to make friends is to tell people you'll want to make friends. There's always the possibility you'll be rejected, but there will almost certainly be people who accept you too.
それは無理です。
She shakes her head. Why not?
あれは誠くん相手だからできたんです。ちょっと特別ですから。
What do you mean? Me? 特別?
つまり誠くんは転入生で過去の私を知らない人ですし、それに。
She narrows her eyes, seemingly peering at something behind me. Hi?
その後ろの守護霊が。
Guardian spirit. I can't help but look over my shoulder. Of course, I don't see anything there, but maybe Kyouko does.
私がそうじゃないかと思ってるだけで、本当は何なのかよくわからないんですけど。
She explains haltingly. Apparently, besides those that are bound to a certain place or just float around in the air, there are some spirits that attach themselves to specific people. Not everyone has such a spirit attached to them, but every once in a while she sees someone who does. Only Makoto, not like Mana. She's not even like, because Mana also has the power of Kotodama. So is he more special? I guess it makes sense because I'm thinking about what his mom did to him. So it's probably his mom's spirit.
取り憑かれているのとはまたちょっと雰囲気が違って、 なんとなく気配が柔らかいんです。
そっか。I can't really picture what the world must look like to her with all these yure everywhere. But she doesn't seem to be lying, so I had no reason not to take her at her word. So you say I have one of these spirits attached to me too.
はい。
I look over my shoulder again. I still can't sense that there's anything there. What do they look like? Or maybe I should say it.
漠然とした気配があるだけで明確な形をとって見えるわけではないんです。
She squints as if in sunlight, even though we're indoors. I see.
はい。誠くんの背後から爽やかな光が差しているような、そんな感じです。
I don't feel anything like that at all myself. I never even imagined that something like that could be following me around. So, you first decided to talk to me because you saw this guardian spirit.
はい。
She nods seriously.
こんなに立派で感じのいい守護霊がついているのだから、きっと素晴らしい人なのだろうと思って。実際、誠くんは私にとても親切にしてくれました。
So there's a kind of relationship between the way a guardian spirit looks and the kind of person it guards.
断言はできません。でも私の経験上、そういう傾向があるような気がして。
She looks away a little awkwardly.
ともかくそういうわけで最初から誠くんは私には特別な人だったんです。
そっか. So that's why she was able to muster the courage to talk to me. But I guess we can't go around attacking fine-looking guardian spirits on people to help you make friends with them. I suppose I could use my kotodama to make that happen, at least from Kyoko's perspective, but that would be too much work.
もちろんです。
She hangs her head and sighs at her own impotence.
だから本当はそういう保証に頼らなくても私が勇気を出せるようになれればいい。分かってはいるんです、頭では。でも
But when it comes to time to actually do it, she falters. This is a pretty tough problem. ところで, are there any books in here that might help? Her eyes dart to the book she was reading before I arrived. That one?
はい、ちょうど読んでいたところがそんな感じのシーンでした。ずっと気になっていた相手に主人公が声をかけて仲良くなろうとするという。
That sounds perfect. Alright, why don't we try acting out that scene? From what I'm hearing, it sounds like what you need is a little practice to get you started. If she rehearses a few times, it might go more smoothly the next time she tries it for real.
でもこれ恋愛小説なんですけど。
Oh. A romance novel. Sumari, a story that focuses on the subtle interactions between men and women. Is there something wrong with it being a romance novel? Maybe she means it won't be useful since it's just a fictional story.
まずいというか、
Can I see it for a second? I take the book and open it to the page she's bookmarked. I read a few lines and see it's the perfect scene for us to try. Alright, why don't we try out this part?
でも
Demo?
ちょっと恥ずかしいです。
She looks up at me blushing. Her expression is super cute, and I feel something stir within me. That's exactly the kind of thing you're trying to get over, isn't it?
その通りですね。
She nods emphatically, then stands up straight.
わかりました。頑張ってみます。
Okay, well then. To summarize, the story goes something like this. The Shushinko, a girl, is going to the school library, looking for a reference book. When she arrives, someone is already there. It's the boy in her class, who she secretly admired for a long time. It's a disc. She briefly greets him, but fails to continue the conversation and ends up searching the bookshelves in silence. Suddenly, she finds the book she wanted, but it's on the top shelf. She stands on tiptoes and tries to reach for it, but it's just barely beyond her reach. When she tries to jump to reach it, she loses her balance and falls backwards into the arms of the boy. They get to talking, and before long... Can you start from this part where the Shujinko is reaching for the book?
はい。よろしくお願いします。
No problem. She bows briefly, then turns to the bookshelf and raises her hand. I position myself a few steps behind her. I have to be ready to catch her at any time. Kyouko reaches up, then sways. I rush forward to catch her. Damn. I can see I can see where this is going. Losing her balance, she twirls around by a half turn and falls toward me face first. Kyoko's face, wide-eyed in shock, fills my view. God, she's kawaii. An instinctive impulse leads into my brain, telling me to pounce on her and fondle her all over. What do you mean, fondle her all over what? Of course, that's not the kind of thing I'm trying to do here, so I ignore the impulse. Okay, he had me in the first half. Kyouko. In my arms, she feels stiff as a board. According to the script, she's supposed to thank me and I'm supposed to offer to take the book down from the shelf for her, but she's silent.
誠くん、顔が近い。
I mean, of course it is. I'm supposed to be embracing her. Was she expecting me to catch her in arm's length, with my elbows stiff like a robot? I'm just waiting for her to read her line, but no matter how long I wait, she doesn't do anything. We just stare at each other silently as the seconds tick by. Oh my god. She really went for it. She closed her eyes and then she's... Oh my god. She really went for it, man. Oh my god. Now she closed her eyes. I guess the nerves must be really getting to her. Is she hyperventilating? Maybe I should help her to calm down a little. Kyouko, daijoubu? You could tell she was getting ready for a kiss there, but yeah, she's daijoubu janai. Listen, Kyouko, calm down a little, okay? Without that kotodama, I had a feeling we'd be here all day. Oh, this is actually a nice verse. She exhales sharply, as if jolting awake from a dream. Can we keep going now? Her eyes go wide again, and she blushes deep red. My kotodama only ended up lasting for a few seconds. She's kind of amazing in her own way. Kyouko is. In the script, the next line is you, Kyouko. She got...
てっき
She got disappointed there. You thought.
りなんでもありません。
She turns away from me with an incredibly embarrassed look on her face. A shiver runs down my spine at the sheer cuteness of it. I really want to bend her to a table and make her cry, if you know what I mean. Maybe this is the kind of urge Mana feels when she torments me during sex. Come on now, that's not fair. Tell me what you were going to say.
でも
Kyouko, kotaeru. I lean in and murmur the kotodama in her ear.
はい、キスするのかなって期待しちゃって。
All right.
もしかしたらそのままもっと先までとか。
I see. So that's why she closed her eyes earlier. I should have just listened to my impulses. This was a bit of a wasted opportunity. That's probably not enough time left. There's probably not enough time left in our lunch break for sex, but it could have easily fit a kiss into my schedule. This guy.
私なんてことを。
She shrinks in embarrassment in my arms. One more for Kyouko cuteness list.
今のは忘れてください。
As she tries to wiggle out of my arms, she bangs her head on the bookshelf behind her.
いった。
She crashes on the ground, clutching her head. Daijobu? I bend over to look at her face as I gently rub her head. It wasn't that hard of an impact, so she's probably fine, but just in case. There, see? It doesn't hurt anymore. Oh no, I think it's not just a single kotodama there. She probably had someone in her life who did that to her, and she's like, oh, it was like that time. Her face, which was contorted in pain, suddenly reverts to her normal expression.
すごい。本当に痛くなくなりました。
That's good. Come on, let's go back to the classroom. Lunch break is about to end. I stroke her hair one more time before I lift my hand.
はい。
She smiles happily and slowly gets to her feet. Bro, if you were a normal dude and then the girl you were quote unquote acting out a scene, somebody tells you, well, I was hoping I could have a kiss and maybe go further.
どこへ行っていたのよ。
Matt has a good reason. Matt has a good sense of suspicion. Good thing. Would have done something there. Mana accosts us at the entrance of the classroom with a sharp look. Kyouko withers under Mana's gaze. I don't think that's necessary, since she hasn't done anything wrong. What happened to Kokoro and Hotaru? At a glance, I don't see them anywhere in the classroom. Well, the bell is about to ring, so they're probably back in their own classroom by now.
もうとっくに戻ったわ。
From her tone, she doesn't seem to be in a bad mood. I guess the argument between her and Kokoro cleared itself up by the end, one way or another. Oh, that's right. Mana, would you be Kyoko's friend too?
何よ、いきなり。
Mana furrows her brow in confusion at my request. Kyoko told me she wanted to make more friends and asked for my help. And I think it could be good for you to have a female friend in our class too.
あなたが私の友達。
Mana looks Kyoko over, apprising me from head to toe, not even pretending to be discreet. Kyoko flinches, then stiffens. Well, she's trying her best. If she wasn't, she'd probably have jumped back several paces, then run out of the room.
あくまでもしよかったらで。でもやっぱりダメですよね。私みたいな子が友達なんておこがましい。 別に構わないけど、友達。
Mina's expression is exactly the same as before. Kyouko stares unbelieving.
いいんですか？ええ、他ならぬお兄ちゃんの頼みだから特別よ。
There you have it. Omedetou, Kyouko.
ありがとうございます。
She breaks into a smile of relief as she bows her head. Mana watches her in fascination. I don't often see that look on Mana's face. I wonder what Mana is thinking right now. Who knows? Maybe she and Kyouko are actually a pretty good match. Well, that settles that. Let's all get along with each other from now on.
こちらこそよろしくお願いします。ええ、よろしく。
I don't know what Mana's thinking. Mana smiles in amusement as Kyouko frantically bows again. Yeah, there's something. I know that smile all too well. Maybe there really is something about Kyouko that steers up that sadistic side of anyone she's with. Oh, maybe she's looking at it from a I'm superior and you're like lower kind of thing, relationship.
で、友達って具体的には何をするものなの？
Oh. Mana turns to me and cocks her head to the side. Well, iro, I guess. I think about my relationship with Koichi as I answer. Friends hang out with each other, talk to each other, give each other advice, help each other out. Actually, haven't Mana and I been friends since we were kids? Friendship back in the village and friendship here can't be all that different.
取り立てて意識する必要もないということかしら。
Hi. If they can just play it by ear, then all the better. Though it might be a little difficult for Kyouko.
あの
Kyouko had been listening quietly to our conversation, but now she butts in.
もしよかったら私のこと名前で呼んでいただけませんか？いいわ、京子ね。
Kyouko nods and smiles radiantly. She reminds me of a friendly puppy.
あなたも私のこと名前で呼んで構わないわよ。
Honestly, I'm a little surprised. I didn't think Mana would go out of her way to make an offer like that.
その方がお兄ちゃんと区別しやすいでしょ。 ありがとうございます。
At that instant, the bell rings. As we all immediately return to our seats, Mana turns to me with a sensacious smile on her lips.
ね、お兄ちゃんの頼みを聞いてあげたんだから、私もお願いを言ってもいいかしら？
What kind of request is this? Mana's request is undoubtedly of that nature. All right, alliteration, here we go. I tried telling Mana that we can't since class is about to start, but that doesn't make a difference to her. I ended up using Kotodama to help us make a break from class undetected.
ほら、好きなようにしていいのよ。
Man, she horny. As soon as we go into an empty classroom and shut the door, Mana loosens her uniform and exposes her body to me completely vulnerable.
私の体をどう使っても、お兄ちゃんなら許してあげる。だからお兄ちゃんも、欲望に従いなさい。
As she says this, Mana leans her body against mine. Oh. I'm been about to push Mana back and tell her to wait, but her kotodama makes my heart waver. All right, welcome back. I bump into Koichi on my way back from the benjo.
なあ、お前本当に昔は病弱だったのか？
He looks at me oddly as he asks his question. Yeah, I nod. That's the story I'm going with. Anyway, and I did get deadly ill during the epidemic when I was a kid, so technically I'm not lying.
とてもそうは思えない体してるな、今は。
He slaps me on the chest.
華奢に見えるがやっぱりがっちりしてるわお前の胸板。
That's our self-insert. Well, once I was old enough, I did put in the work to keep my body as strong as I could. Mainly by doing a lot of farming.
それで陸上部のやつに勝つって相当なもんだぜ。年がら年中走ってるような連中だぞ。
He looks at me as if I'm crazy. Apparently, he's still thinking about how badly I beat the athletes in the class during PE just now. What can I say? I have strong legs and a lot of stamina. I'm pretty sure I'm better than anyone in the school at just running around. That's easy.
本格的にスポーツやるつもりはないのか？
No, learning all the rules would be too much work anyway. Running is simple, but most sports involve a lot of complex decision making and teamwork, and sounds pretty tough.
そうか。ちょっともったいないような気もするが。
Koichi looks down the hallway. I follow his gaze and see Mana talking to a boy at the end of the hall. Or rather, she's being talked to by him, it looks like.
おお、マナちゃんさすがだな。ありゃ隣のクラスのやつだぞ。
What do you mean, way to go?
モテるなってことだよ。
Yeah, she does seem strangely popular. People must be interested in her because she's a tenkose, and that's rare. Mana is anything but friendly, so it certainly can't be her personality that draws people to her.
いや、どう考えてもそこじゃないだろ
He looks at me and snots.
う。まあでも、お前の周りは美人が多いから見慣れちまうってことか。
You mean she's popular because she's beautiful?
ああ、そりゃそうだろ。
He seems amazed that he has to spell it out for me.
内面なんて深く付き合わなきゃどんな子かわからないんだから、まずは見た目から入るんだよ、大抵はな。
That makes a lot of sense. But in that case, I feel like Kyouko should be pretty popular too. But in reality, she's not popular at all. She doesn't even have any friends. I've barely even seen anyone talk to her.
ああ、朝比奈はなんというか、まあ例外みたいなもんだ。厳密に言うと人気がないわけじゃないんだが、噂とかいろいろあるからな。
Oh? His tone is vaguely evasive. Does he have some kind of hang up about Kyouko?
それよりお前いいのかあれ、放っておいて。
He points his chin down the hall, toward where Mana and the boy are standing. I mean, they were fresh out of sex, so so it's totally like, yeah, whatever. They're far enough away that I can't tell what they're talking about, but the boy seems to be gesticulating passionately. Meanwhile, Mana looks uninterested as she listens to him. Why shouldn't I let it happen? Mana might find it boring, but this kind of conversation is the type of communication too. I wouldn't want to rob her of that experience. And anyway, she has the power to shut down the conversation at any time she wants. She doesn't need my help. If anything, I'm a little worried that if it does come to that, she might go overboard with her kotodama.
そうか。妹の男関係には干渉しないってやつか。
Love light. I unconsciously stop in my tracks. He's finally realizing something here.
そうだよ。ありゃ明らかに付き合ってくださいって告白してる勢いだぜ。
Go out with him? Like, become his koibito?
他に何があるんだよ。
Koichi shrugs. I look down the hall again, at the boy who's fervently saying something to Mana. His face does look flush, and from the spark in his eyes, Koichi might be right. Well, even if that's what he's doing, there isn't anything wrong with it, is there? I thought Mana will say yes, and as long as she has her kotodama, she's not in any danger from the boy. Unless Mana uses this as an excuse, because unless Mana is like, well, you're also having fun with other girls, so... I suppose that if he jumped her and gagged her before she could speak a kotodama, that could be bad. He's really thinking hard about this, but surely that's not going to happen here.
へえ。でもマナちゃんはこっち見たぜ。
As he says, Mana seems to have noticed us standing here and smiles in our direction. And then she starts walking toward us while the boy is still talking. Man, that's gotta hurt.
あ、ちょうどいいところに。
That's gotta hurt. As she comes up to us, she breathes a sigh of relief. The boy is stunned for a moment, then hurriedly comes after her.
ちょっと待ってくれよ。こっちの話はまだ終わってない。
勝手に喋り始めたのはそっちでしょ。私はもう結構よ。
As she gestures the boy peremptorily, as if to shoo him away. Oh man, that sucks.
いや、 頼むよ。こっちは本気なんだ。せめて最後まで。
I wonder if there's gonna be something about like. Anyway,
しつこいわね。とにかくお断りよ。潔く諦めてちょうだい。
she trots to my side and hugs my arm tightly. Damn.
だいたい私にはこのお兄ちゃんという言い名付けがいるんだから。
おい、mana, no.
いい名付けとはまた随分前時代的な表現だな。
Koichi folds his arms and shakes his head. He must think she's making it up as an excuse to drive the boy away. But the boy freezes and stares at us.
いい名付けってなんだ？
そんなことも知らないの？
She looks back at him, exasperated.
いい名付けというのは結婚を前提とした将来を誓い合った仲ということよ。
だって今お兄ちゃんと言ったじゃないか。兄弟なのに結婚するつもりなのか？
うるさいわね。
She makes no attempt to hide the displeasure from her expression. Unlike me, she probably feels no need to carefully keep her story straight about being Oribe Mana.
あなた、いいからもう私のことは諦めなさい。
You know, I have a bad feeling because her katanawa only does this, but the guy still would probably still remember about the whole betrothed thing. So you know, it might bring up some rumors or some shit.
ああ、諦めるよ。
The boy easily accepts Mana's kotodama, turns on his heel, and walks away. She lets go of my arm and lets out a languid sigh.
年の近い人間が大勢いると煩わしいことも多いわね。
She lightly shakes her head and then goes back into the classroom.
人気者の妹を持つ兄貴ってのもやっぱりなかなか大変なもんだな。
Well, I guess.
しかしあいつ随分サクッと諦めたな。ついさっきまであんなにご就寝だったのにいきなり別人になったみたいだ。
I glance at his face. He seems rather preoccupied with Mana's tutor's strange behavior, at least from his expression. I'd better make sure he forgets about it, just in case. Gomen ne, Koichi. But please forget about everything that just happened with Mana. Honestly, I don't feel good about using my kotodama on my otomodachi, but this time it's necessary.
ああ。で、あれ何の話してたんだっけ？
Nothing important.
そうだろうな。すぐ忘れるってことは。それよりうっかりしてたが、次の授業俺当てられる番だった気がするぜ。
He takes his leave and hurries back into the classroom. I start to follow him, but suddenly I notice something. Oh, Kyouko saw them. Maybe she saw something when they used their powers. It actually makes sense that them doing the voice thing might actually do something spiritually. So she probably saw that. Kyouko is some distance away, frozen in her tracks, and looks toward me with an expression of surprise in her face. No, wait. If he's been using his kotodama on her, so she wouldn't have. Oh, no. I think it's probably more than enough that she sees it from a different perspective. Because each time he uses his kotodama on her, she's close by. But now he does it from a distance. Let's see her reaction. Because this is the first time she's reacting like this. I've been seen. This isn't good. First, Koichi saw Mana taking care of the suitor. And now Kyouko saw me taking care of Koichi. Now I had to take care of Kyouko as well. Kyouko? Instead of going back to the classroom, I walk over to where Kyouko is standing.
あの、
Kyouko, you overheard our conversation just now, didn't you? I'm almost certain she did, but I want to be sure.
はい、その、申し訳ありません。立ち聞きするようなつもりはなかったんです。
I like how I like it turned into an SD. Kyouko is bowing apologetically over and over again at the breakneck pace.
本当にごめんなさい。
No, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm going to have you forget about it pretty soon anyway. Kyoko's eyes widened at my words.
じゃあ、やっぱりさっきの、あれ
Yes, that's right. Let's call Kotodama. Apparently, Kyoko is more perceptive than Koichi was. I mean, of course, she has the sight. It's a Chonoriku I have, which lets me control people with my words. She didn't do anything wrong, though I had to erase her Kyoko now. I don't resent her whatsoever for witnessing me use my Kotodama. So the least I can do is give her an explanation of what's happening before I do it. Now, how will she respond? It's unfortunate, but she'll probably end her friendship with me over this. Her eyes glisten as they widen even further. She holds her breath. Is she afraid of me? It wouldn't be unusual for a normal human being to be terrified of a kami-sama, but
素晴らしいやっぱり誠くんは特別な方なんですね
oh yeah, okay. You know what? It makes sense that she'll also react this way. You know what? Yeah, okay, fine. I accept this. I accept this. I accept this. She breaks out in a huge smile and looks up at me worshipfully. I didn't expect this reaction.
初めて見た時に感じた気持ちは間違っていなかったんですねあ、もしかして昨日のあれも
She covers her mouth in surprise. She must be talking about what happened in the library prep room at lunch yesterday. Very perceptive, yes. I just really wanted to know what you were saying. ごめんね。
いえ言いかけてやめた私がそもそも悪いんですから昔からそういうところあるんですよね私反射的に口走りかけてから慌ててブレーキ踏むみたいな
She heaves a big sigh and hangs her head. I had steeled myself to do the deed quickly, but her reaction has tripped me up somehow. ねえ、Kyoko.
はい何でしょう
Don't you feel afraid of me?
怖い誠くんが
She frowns, as if unable to understand what I'm saying. Yes. I mean, I just told you I have the power to make people do whatever I want. Not only that, I've actually used it on her, so I expected her to be horrified by it, like Hotaru was.
とても尊い恐れ多い力だとは思います
I guess I'm just gonna accept this as her being a Miko and her also having a secret and awesome power herself.
でも怖くはありませんよまったく
Also, maybe she prefers to. I mean, I think she's really grateful for spending time with our guy. So she's just gonna accept whatever it is. Why not? She's standing face to face with someone who has the complete power over her. What possible basis could she have for being so unafraid?
だって誠くんですから
She smiles gently. That's not an explanation.
すみません自分でもあまりうまく言えないんですけど
She puts her hand to her forehead as she searches for the right words.
つまり私は力って刃物みたいなものだと思うんです
Wait, what's the term she specifically uses?
つまり私は力って刃物みたいなものだと思うんです
Did she say hamon? You know, that? You mean hamon? You know, that? Hamon? I guess it's a more common word than I thought. It can't be helped. I associate the word hamon with that. Anyway.
使い方によっては人を傷つけたりすることもあるんでしょうけど上手に使えば美味しい料理を作ったり役に立つことだっていっぱいある
Hashikani. She's not wrong.
だから誠くんが特別な力を持っていても別に怖いとは思いませんどっちかっていうとと納得した感じです巫女としての私の直感は間違っていなかったんだって
Sokka. I'm honestly very surprised at how positively she's responding to the idea of my Kotodama Noriku. Check that up. Maybe one reason is that she has special power. Shonoriku, to see spirits. So that makes her tend to be accepting of other kinds of special powers too.
でも秘密にしているんですよね、他の人たちには。
Yes. If people find out about it, it could cause various kinds of trouble.
わかりました。どうぞ誠くんの力で忘れさせてください。
She takes a beatific. They're really stretching their vocabulary on this translation, huh? Meanwhile, having miss wrong grammar and misspellings. She takes on a the beatific expression and faces me with her eyes closed. It almost looks as though she's waiting for a kiss. I never thought I'd see a normal human actually ask me to put a kotodama on them. In fact, since she's so accepting of me, I'm starting to think I don't really need to force her silence with a kotodama. Of course, she might change her mind over time, but the same goes for Hotaru, who also knows my secret. No, I think I won't erase her memory after all.
いいんですか？
She opens her eyes and looks at me puzzled. Yeah, if you promise not to tell anyone, it will be a secret between the two of us. Oh. Hotaru once said that a promise was like a kotodama for normal people.
わかりました。約束します。
Ah, that really strengthens their friendship and relationship and all that sort of thing.
絶対誰にも言いません。これは私のことあげです。
Ooh. Cute. She looks me straight in the eyes and nods decisively. Though she's not able to speak kotodamas, I can feel a similarly strong conviction in her words.
まあ、そもそもそんなこと話すような相手がいませんしね。私。
A shy smile of embarrassment appears on her face. That's a kind of sad thought. We need to make you some more friends.
そうですね。でも数さえ多ければいいというものでもありませんし。
Her face turns serious as she continues earnestly.
誠くんのような方と秘密を共有するような関係になれて、私すごく幸せです。しかも妹さんたちまで紹介していただいたり、本当にお世話になってばかりで、秘密を守るくらいではちっともご恩返しとして足りない気がするくらいですよ。
You're making a big fuss over nothing, Kyouko. You're not indebted to me. I don't feel like I've done anything for her that's really worth mentioning. But maybe her expectations are just so low that she's happy I responded to her initial social advances at all. My guardian spirit and my kotodama are just extra elements that have reinforced those feelings.
いえ、ちっとも大げさななんてことは、誠くんは私の恩人ですよ。何かもっと私がお役に立てることはありませんか？身の回りのお世話でも雑用でも何でも。
Damn. I'm grateful for your kind offer, but there's really no need to pay me back for anything. She's supposed to be my tomodachi, not my servant or my minion. Don't worry about it, really. I'm the one who first asked you to be friends after all. Tonikaku, let's go back to the classroom for now.
はい。
I wave her forward and follow her into the classroom. Man, her self-esteem is so low. Holy shit. Well, never mind. I'm gonna pause. I might as well use this as a chance to have dinner, so I'm gonna do that. I'll be right back. I'll probably do an hour. When I get back, I'll probably do 1 to 3 hours. Who knows? I could probably go as far as 3. I'm really stretching it today. I have a feeling this whole week, instead of doing ikikoi at all, I'm just gonna do Amatsutsumi. But I know this week is gonna be busy for me. But like, I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna read VNs, even if it's like an hour a day or something. Anyway, I'll be right back for dinner. No, I'll be right back after dinner. Okay, I'm back. I better see a Kyouko-ish scene the next 2 to 3 hours. I was thinking about her over dinner. In many ways. you know. Anyway, school has ended for the day. After giving some thought, I decided to walk back with Kyouko today. And there was that whole business earlier. But also, I'm just interested in learning more about her. I'm in sync with the MC now.
男の子と二人で帰るってかなり緊張しますね。
Bro, yeah, the way she's blushing isn't even like. This is straight up. I'm in love with this guy blushing kind of deal. And she is a girl who straight up told him, "Well, I wish you would have kissed me and gone any further." Anyway, she smiles shyly, looking worried that people might be watching. Could it be that this is your first time walking home with a boy?
はい、何人かのグループで集団下校とかは小さい頃にありましたけど。
Oh, what were you doing? Just going home together?
そうですね。私あまり喋らない子でしたから。
I can't help but doubt the accuracy of her description, given the way she interacts with me now. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that she never had any friends growing up. But, well, that's not exactly the right way of thinking about it. It could be that she deliberately avoided making friends back then.
誠くんみたいにすぐ人と仲良くなったりできないんです。自分にそんなことができるとは思っていなかったんです。
She's hard on herself, but I think she would do just fine socially if she could be like this all the time.
誠くんは誰とでも仲良くなれそうですよね。人柄もそうですが、言葉が綺麗ですから、話していて不思議と落ち着きます。失礼かもしれませんけど、やっぱり言霊の力があるからそういう風に育ったんでしょうか。
Well, I suppose you could say that. I explained to her my upbringing in the village, without going into too many specifics.
それじゃあ本当に神様の末裔なんですか？
That's what's been passed down in our village, but even we don't know whether it's really true. It's even possible that one of our ancestors made up the descendants of God's idea as an explanation for our Kotodama power. I mean, we're not really omnipotent or anything. I explained more about what exactly Kotodama is like.
すごいですね。
Interesting sprite. I like this. All right, they're starting to sell her on me. After hearing my explanation, Kyouko seems impressed, even moved. Her eyes are sparkling in fascination. It feels funny to be on the receiving end of all this adoration, but it's not a bad feeling either. Well, Kotodama is something I was born with, so it feels totally natural, like it's a part of me. To be honest, I can't really think of it as amazing myself. To me, it's kind of like if I had longer than average arms or legs. Isn't it the same for you, Kyouko? She looks at me blankly and cocks her head to the side in a cute motion. I mean, you're Noraku to see spirits. I wonder if it felt like having excellent eyesight or hearing.
そうですね。ただ私の場合、生まれつきそうだったというわけじゃないですから。
Oh, I see. Something must have happened that caused her to gain her ability then.
はい。だからもう慣れはしましたけど、自分にとって自然とまではなかなか思えないです。
That makes sense. A skill that you develop later in life always feels a little more foreign to you than an inborn skill. I could use my Kotodama to make her stop seeing the spirits temporarily, but...
あと、私に見えているものが本当に世間でいうところの幽霊なのかどうかもよくわかりません。私の頭がおかしいだけなんだって言う人もいて。
I don't think that's the case personally.
ありがとうございます。でも他人とは体験を共有できませんから、ただの幻覚や白チュームだという可能性も否定できないとは思うんです。自分でも。でももし幻覚、自分の頭が見せているものだとしたら、よくできすぎているなぁとも思います。
I don't know, man. People, never mind.
いろんな意味でと とても私なんかに作れるものではなさそうで。
Sumari, she feels the spirit she sees must be real because they seem to transcend her own powers. I can more or less understand that feeling.
ずっと自分の中でも答えが出ずにモヤモヤしていたんです。だけど誠くんと出会ってやっぱり私自分がおかしいわけじゃないのかもしれないって。
To focus on the conversation, Kyouko trips over an unevenness on the path. Ugh! I manage to reach out and catch her before she falls down. Daijobu? I'm glad you're being so talkative, but be careful, okay? Kotsukete?
ありがとうございます。恩返しどころかまたお世話になってしまった。
I told you, don't worry about that. We're friends, aren't we? Kini Shinai. Just as I take her hand to help her regain her balance, something happens. Huh? What was that? For just a moment, Kyouko shivers in my arms. Kyouko? I instantly grab her arms as she tries to stand up again.
誠くん。
Sorry, I just wanted to check something.
はい。
Did a ghost happen to pass by us just now? Wide-eyed, she searches my face.
見えたんですか？誠くんにも？
Oh, he's gaining the ability to see ghosts as well. Oh. I think so. It went right by us, didn't it? Going from here to over in that direction. From your face, I'm guessing I'm right.
はい。にわかには信じられませんけど。
She looks amazed as she extricates herself from me and stands up again. I feel exactly the same way. I wonder how I was able to see it. It was so sudden. There's nobody around who could put a kotodama on me, and I doubt it was a hallucination induced by Kyoko's discretions either. Even if it was a hallucination, that wouldn't explain how I saw it move in the same direction she did, at the same time she did.
わかりません。
She shakes her head in confusion. I suppose it's only natural that she wouldn't know. This really came out of nowhere after all. ところで, I just want to check, but
はい。
did you see any other yure on our way here?
ええ、いくつかはさっきのよりも少し遠いところにいましたけど。
Soka. But I didn't see any of those other ones. The only difference I can think of is... Kyoko, can you come here for a minute?
はい。
As she steps closer, I hug her tightly.
誠くん。
Don't get worked up, Kyoko. I just want to try something. Okay, I want you to look around and see if you can find any yure nearby.
はい。
She sounds thoroughly confused, but she nods and starts looking around from within my embrace. I follow her gaze with my own, trying to see what she sees. After a while,
いました。あそこです。
looking in the direction she indicates, I see a few dark shadows, approximately shaped like human beings.
1、2、3体ほど。
Yes, I see them. They're moving away from us, right?
はい。ゆっくりとですが。
Okay, now it's pretty clear that I am in fact seeing the same things she is. Now, keep your eyes on those yure.
はい。
After she confirms, I let go of her and take a step back. It's just as I thought. Kyoko, are the yure still in the same place?
はい、います。
I see. Okay, one more time. I step to her and hug her again. Obviously, the sensation is... I see them. I really can see ghosts if I touch Kyoko. In particular, her skin. It would be funny. It's a plot relevant age, and that's how he gains the ability to see ghosts after doing an issue with her. It would be funny. That's how it works.
まさか。
She seems to have realized it too. Yeah, I don't know why, but it seems like when I'm touching you, I can share your senses.
どうして今までこんなことはありませんでした。
Maybe you just never notice because you don't come into contact with other people. At a loss for words, she winces as if I've struck a deep nerve. I was just joking.
それは確かにそうなんですけど。でも、クラスメートの女の子とか、家族とか、たまに手が触れ合ったりするくらいのことはありましたから。
Bro, it's just brushing hands. It's different if you're like... Did none of those people ever see a Yure?
はい。一度もそんな話をされたことはありません。
In that case, there must be something special between you and me in particular. I have no idea why that may be, though. But these Yure... I look back toward the Yure again. I didn't think they would be like this. I get that indescribable but unpleasant feeling all over my body just by looking at them. Is this something the Yure are directly doing to me, or...
あまり凝視とかしない方がいいですよ。幽霊に見えていると感づかれると、面倒なこともいろいろありますから。
Oh yeah, she did mention they won't leave you alone if they do. Okay, wakata. She knows best, so I take her at her word. But for now, I need to escape from the spirit world. As soon as I let go of Kyouko, I start seeing the Yure, and the unpleasant feeling quickly abates.
誠くん、大丈夫ですか？なんだか顔色が。
She peers worriedly at my face.
私はもう慣れてしまいましたけど、気分のいいものではないですよね。やっぱり。
You're right. I'm a little shocked right now. I didn't think they would be so... eerie. Does Kyoko spend all her waking hours feeling like that? Wait, before I continue, this somehow reminds me of that Ryukishi VN. What's the name of that? It's one of the VNs I streamed from way back. It recently had its anniversary. What's its name? Fuck, I don't know why it got I forgot about it. Anyway, there's a VN. It kind of begins like a Dempa VN, but then Rikishi drops the ball. Oh, I forgot what you call that VN. There's a VN. It really starts out so well, and it really started very Dempa like. It's not Dempa like, it literally was. It started as Dempa, but then it kind of messed it up as usual. Rikishi. What's the name of the VN? Anyway, Iwaihime. There you go. So this kind of reminds me a little about Iwaihime. Spoilers. Probably you won't read it, but there's this there's a set of girls who tend to quote unquote hallucinate spiritual beings all the time, and they see, but compared to them, like in a split second they end up going into like some sort of spiritual dimension thing, and they have those Dempa scenes, and they go back to reality, and that happens in a microsecond. So for them, they experience like probably hours or days worth of like going through some hellish nightmare, and then be back in like less than a microsecond in real life, and they get traumatized and all that. But like, in order to live their lives, they have to go through all that. Anyway, the reason I think about that is Kyoko as she's seeing spirits, ghosts, or whatever the fuck all the time. So Makoto describes it as very eerie and very scary or whatever, but like, it's like Kyoko has to go through this, man. I wasn't looking forward to seeing the Yure again, but I wanted to get a better idea of the world Kyoko lives in and share it with her for a little while. At first, she was hesitant, worrying about the effects the Yure would have on me, but in the end, she relented. Luckily, I'm very adaptable, so after a while, I started getting used to the unpleasant feeling that came with seeing the Yure. The important thing is to ignore it and not let it get to you. I kept that in mind as I looked around, observing our surroundings as we walked. And after experimenting in various ways, I learned several things. First, the way Kyoko and I see the Yure is subtly different. She seems to see their forms much more clearly than I do. Apparently, some of them even look as real as living humans to her. I guess she's much more in tune. And he has a limited level of fidelity. Second, Kyoko can not only see Yure, but touch them too. but I couldn't touch them, even when I was hugging her. Oh, interesting. They really experimented there, but they spent most of the time hugging each other. Third, the closer we got to the Jinja, the fewer Yurei we saw. Kyouko conjectured that it's because the area around the shrine complex has purity-preserving powers, which probably drives away ghosts and spirits. I like that consistency. Wait, then what about my guardian spirit?
いますよ、ちゃんと。
Oh, I have I have a suspicion it's literally his mom. Remember about like they what Mana talked about, like their kotodama. It's actually sharing their life force or soul or something like that. But you know, being able to manipulate others is just a side effect. You know, so if his mom like saved his life by sharing her soul, I that's the feeling I have right now. I thought spirits find it hard to enter the grounds of the Jinja.
ええ、ただの浮遊霊と違って守護霊は目的意識がはっきりしてるからだと思います。
I don't really understand.
と、
As I look on in puzzlement, she frowns, trying to think of a way to explain to me. I contemplate how cute she looks when she's thinking hard.
そうですね。なんとなく煙たいから近づかないでおこうみたいな、それくらいの感じじゃないかと思います。多分。
So basically, the spirits can come here if they really want to, but they usually don't want to.
はい、私の勝手な推測なので断言はできませんけど。
I see. It's like if I said akotodama to someone, telling them that a certain place was annoying to be in, or something like that. ところで, is it just me, or are there a lot of people here today? Unlike the last time I came to the Jinja, there are many people milling around in the shrine complex.
そうです。来週末にある灯籠流しの準備があるので。
Toronagashi. My favorite is the Watanagashi. You guys know what it is. Alright, you mentioned the ceremony the other day. So, they're already preparing for that, huh?
一大イベントですから早めに入念にというのがうちの親の方針です。
Wakata. But in that case, don't you have a lot of chores to do too? You must be busy.
いえ、そうでもないんです。せいぜい打ち合わせにいらした町の皆さんにお茶を出すとかその程度ですね。これが夏祭りの準備になると人手が足りなくなって私もいろいろ借り出されるんですけど、町の外からも人が来るのでかなり賑やかで盛り上がりますよ。
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. A Waterlander ceremony. A large-scale Natsu Omatsuri. I never experienced either of those back in the village. Very interesting indeed. Maybe I shouldn't be calling the Water Lantern ceremony fun, since it's supposed to be in remembrance of the dead, right?
いえ、そんなことはないと思います。
She smiles and shakes her head.
人それぞれ胸に抱く思いが違うのは当然のことでしょ。ある人にとっては辛い記憶を呼び覚ますものでも、ある人にとっては楽しいものだったりすることもある。
She's right, of course.
辛い人の痛みが和らぐように何かできたらいいとは思いますが、それがイコール楽しむ人を否定することではないと私は思いたいです。
She squints up at the sky. It seems like she has something more to say. Kyouko, which group are you in? Do you find the ceremony painful or fun?
さあ、どうでしょうか。
She speaks softly, with a slightly sad smile on her lips.
誠くんにはもう亡くなっているけれど、叶うものならまた会いたいと思う人いますか？
Yes, I do. The faces of several people who were important to me flashes through my mind. How about you?
はい。どうしてももう一度会って話をしたい。そんな人がいます。
Oh, nice. We're going to have a ghost story route thing.
昔の、私にとっては初めての、大切な、大切な友達でした。
She turns her head and looks off into the distance. In that direction is the lake.
少し長い話になると思いますが、聞いていただけますか？誠くんにとっては、楽しい、面白い話ではないかもしれませんけど。
You know, if this was an RPG, I would have selected, oh, I'm a little busy right now. Just kidding. I'll be happy to. I could tell from her expression that she's always wanted to open up about this to someone. I'm curious to learn more about Kyoko's past Kako, too.
ありがとうございます。10年ほど前のことです。当時、私には一つ年上の、とても仲の良い幼馴染がいました。明るくて活発で、機転が利いて、誰からも愛される、本当にいい子でした。
Kyoko went on to tell me the story of her Osana Najimi, Suzuka, who passed away. One day, 10 summers ago, Suzuka and Kyoko had gone out to the lake together. Even back then, Kyoko was introverted, but thanks to Suzuka's encouragement, she had started coming outside to play more often. Kyoko admired Suzuka and looked up to her as an ane she never had.
鈴鹿は、あの湖の眺めをとても気に入っていて、いつものように浅瀬でたあいもない水遊びをしていました。危険な目にあったことは一度もなかったんです。だけどその日。
She looks down ruefully. Perhaps it's still painful for her to remember.
私は沖へ流されそうになったボールを追いかけて、急に深みに足を取られ溺れかけました。すぐに鈴鹿が気づき、私を助けようと腕を伸ばしてくれて、私は必死になってしがみつきました。でも、そうしたら。
She hugs herself and shivers. Her gaze is directed down at her feet.
そこの方から何本も白い手が伸びてきて、私の足首をつかみ、強い力で水中に引きずり込もうとしたんです。
Damn. Like the fucking ghosts are trying to. Wait, that's それは。
幽霊だ
待って、それは。
と思います。その時はパニックだったので、今にして思えばですけど、鈴鹿が私を守ろうと必死になって抱き寄せてくれたのを覚えています。
She lifts her hand and looks hard at them. Maybe remembering what they felt on that day.
水の中で私は意識を失い、気がついた時には大人に救助されて寝かされた状態でした。鈴鹿はそのまま行方不明になり、今も見つかっていません。
Yoko's voice is trembling slightly. I'm sure that to her, this isn't just a memory out long ago, and something that weighs heavily on her even now. It must have been very hard for you. I know all too well how unimaginable the misery must be of losing your close Osana Najimi.
ありがとうございます。でも、私の辛さなんて、鈴鹿に比べたら。
No longer able to stop the welling up of emotion, Kyoko starts weeping silently. Kyoko, come here. I gently pull her toward me and stroke her hair. She doesn't resist and leans against me, sobbing.
私のせいでみんなを悲しませて、本当なら私があの時に死んでいたはずなんです。本当は私が死んで鈴鹿が生きるべきだったんです。
Damn, that the mere fact that they did the bracket thing is really strong. Suddenly, a searing light flashes across my vision. Wait, what on earth just happened? I am assaulted by dizziness, just as if I've spoken a strong kotodama. Oh my god, what the hell? My arms and legs seem to go limp, but I manage to stay standing by clinging to Kyoko.
誠くん、どうしたんですか？
Oh, something interesting is about to happen. Uh, go ahead, Kyoko. I just felt dizzy suddenly.
大丈夫ですか？
Oh, maybe it also works both ways. So she could also use, maybe to an extent, she could also use Kotodama as if she's also hugging him. Ah, that's a nice thing. Yes, I think so. I was caught off guard by the abruptness of it, but I don't feel like I'm in any lasting danger.
よかった。
I hear her gasp in astonishment. Huh? A young girl has suddenly appeared in front of us without the slightest warning. No, this isn't a human being. It's a Yure. Yo, that BGM.
京子。
Kyoko opens her trembling lips to respond. Ooh.
鈴鹿。
Bro. What the hell? That might be what's happening. Because they're together, if their powers combine, they're able to do something like that. Wait, I will get a jacket. It's really cold right now. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. You know, if this keeps going good, I really have a bad feeling this week. It's just gonna be straight up Amatsutsumi, man. Oh man. Anyway, I wake up. I wake up at the usual time, but my body feels heavy and my head feels fuzzy. It's the kind of feeling you get when you exhausted yourself the day before and still haven't rested up enough yet. It's not that bad that I feel like going back to sleep. Hmm? As I get out of bed, I see Kyoko sitting in the corner of the room, looking back at me.
おはようございます、誠くん。
Wait, this is his house, right? Why is she here?
本当にすみません。勝手にお邪魔していて。一応、ノックはしたんですけど。
She bows apologetically. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you there. I'm the one who told her last night that she could come here immediately if anything was wrong. If the knock on the door didn't wake me up, I must have been more tired than I thought. Did something happen?
いえ、そういうわけでもないのですが。
By the way, how was she able to go through the entire house without, there's Mana, there's Kokoro, and there Opasan, and anyway.
マナちゃんとココロちゃんがまだ寝ているところで起き出してごそごそ物音を立てるのもと思ってこちらに。
How convenient. I see. So she came here out of concern for the other two. That's very like her. Oh, you're quite an early riser, aren't you?
いえ、これでも私としては遅めですよ。
Some sort of Miko thing?
いつもはもうこの時間には境内の清掃してますから。
Oh, it is. She smiles softly. Unlike me, she seems to be in a great mood. The reason is obvious, of course. Just like yesterday, when I take Kyoko's hand, I see Suzuka standing silently next to her. Ohayo, Suzuka. I greet her, though I don't expect a reply. She simply stands there in silence like a niño. Yesterday, after the bright flash of light, Suzuka appeared out of nowhere, and Kyoko kept shaking her head in utter disbelief at what she was seeing. Then she wept openly for a while, her eyes locked on Suzuka. Luckily, most of the crowd at the Jinja had packed up and left a few minutes earlier, so there was nobody to stare at us. Kyoko, is she?
はい、鈴鹿です。
Wiping her tears with one hand, she looked at me and nods.
私がずっと会いたいと思っていた鈴鹿です。あの日のままの姿です。これ、夢じゃないですよね。
No, this was Genjutsu. Though it was a little strange to be calling a Yurei real. Konnichiwa. I tried speaking to the apparition, which was standing there in silence with a blank expression on its face. Kyoko had told me earlier that I should avoid interacting with Yurei or drawing their attention. But unlike other Yurei we had seen on our way to the Jinja, I don't feel unpleasant when I look at this Suzuka Yurei. And unlike other Yurei, I can see her rather clearly, not just a human-shaped shadow. Suzuka didn't answer my greeting. Her pretty face added to the impression that she looked like a life-size doll. Since she had called out Kyoko's name at first, I thought she should be able to talk, but more importantly, Kyoko, did you do this? Well, since you're a Miko, I thought maybe you're able to summon Yurei or something. She shook her head quickly.
そんなことできるわけありません。
Yeah, I think it's a combination of his Kotodama power and her being a Miko, some sort of, I don't know what the hell she has.
できたらとっくの昔にやってました。ずっと鈴鹿に会いたかったんですから。大好きな鈴鹿にも会えないのに霊感なんかあってもって思ってきたんですから。
It was a good point.
私はむしろ誠くんが呼んでくれたのかと思いました。
I don't have any power like that either. It was a fushigi. And it was too convenient to have been a coincidence. My best guess was that Kyoko could have somehow used my power to summon Suzuka. Everyone's thinking the same.
本当は私が死んで鈴鹿が生きるべきだったんです。
When I held her hand, I was able to see Yurei like she did. Maybe conversely, she became able to use Kotodama. Of course, all I could do was hypothesize.
そうですか。でもとにかくよかった。鈴鹿。
Maybe it's like an extension of his Kotodama ability. Temporarily she gets Kotodama, but she's now able to use it on spirits. I don't know, man. Wait, there might be a plot where there's a risk of her dying in exchange for that might be the storyline in this route. Kyoko knelt down in front of Suzuka and wept with happiness. Meanwhile, Suzuka just stood there with that blank expression. Her eyes somewhat moved slightly, so she wasn't entirely unresponsive, but she looked like she wasn't paying any attention to the world of the living. I felt bad to inject a dose of reality when Kyoko was so happy, but I had to ask. So, what should we do now?
というと
Kyoko looked at me uncomprehendingly. As I thought, she was too occupied with her long-time dream coming true for her to think about anything else right then. Honestly, I wasn't exactly perfectly calm either, after everything that had happened over the day. I mean, you always wanted to meet Suzuka again, but what did you plan to do after that? Probably her main goal had been just to see Suzuka's face one more time. But now that Suzuka appeared, things wouldn't just end there.
お礼を言って謝りたいと思っていました。
She nodded, then turned back to Suzuka.
私を助けてくれて本当にありがとう。それとごめんね。苦しかったでしょ。
Tears welled up in her eyes again as she spoke to Suzuka. Suzuka remained as silent as ever. Maybe she didn't recognize Kyoko because 10 years had passed. No, that couldn't have been it. So she had called Kyoko's name at first. It looks like she's not in a state where she can communicate with her properly.
みたいですね。大半の幽霊はそうなんです。でも
Oh, they just look at you and anyway.
鈴鹿はさっき私の名前を呼びました。鈴鹿としての記憶と意志が残っているということだと思います。だから、鈴鹿がいつまでいてくれるのかはわかりませんが、もう少し様子を見たいと思います。
そっか。Based on what she had said earlier, I guess she would want to properly mourn Suzuka's death. Because Suzuka's body was never found, Kyouko was never able to fully accept and process her death. So my guess was that she wanted to meet Suzuka's Yurei as a way to get closure after all these years. And so, what Kyouko needed to do now was to help Suzuka leave this world and go to Tengoku. And that's something that I could do. I think I could probably help Suzuka pass on from this plane using my Kotodama Noruku. Of course, I never done such a thing before. But Kyouko had said on the way here that Yurei are like thinned down filaments of leftover life force. And that's the case. Kotodama, which is a power based on life force, should have a high chance of working on them.
それは、待ってください。お願いします。私、鈴鹿ともっと話をしたいです。
I understood her feelings well. She had just met someone who normally she would never have seen again. Of course, she wouldn't want to let go of that. But I felt that just keeping Suzuka by her side without understanding the situation properly would lead to problems eventually. Maybe a Suzuka could become Kyoko's guardian spirit or something. Okay, you can do whatever you need to. I might have been the catalyst that caused this to happen, but at the end of the day, this was Kyoko's issue to solve. For the time being, Suzuka's Yurei didn't seem malicious or dangerous, so I decided it would be fine to wait and see what happened. If by some chance things started to look like they were going bad, I could always step in and solve things then. We might be walking a tightrope, unable to see what lay ahead. But that was no different from my whole adventure in coming to this town in the first place. I think I'll head home now. I don't want to get in the way of your reunion with Suzuka.
休んで行かれなくて大丈夫そうですか?
She looked at me with concern, thinking about how I had staggered earlier. Thanks, but I think I'm all right now.
わかりました。本当に今日はいろいろと何から何までありがとうございます。
Yeah, Kini Schneider. I had fun too. But if you need anything or anything is wrong, contact me right away.
はい。
Okay, じゃあまた。
はい。さようなら、誠くん。
She bowed politely and then turned to leave the shrine grounds. But after a few moments, I suddenly felt like an invisible hand had grabbed me and pulled me backward. What the fuck? Nani? I whirled back to face the two of them, but there was nothing there.
誠くん、どうしたんですか?
Kyouko ran up to me, wide-eyed. I suddenly felt like something pulled me back. Did you see something?
いいえ、何も見えませんでした。
Then I guess it wasn't a Yurei.
はい。今ここにいるのは、私と誠くんと鈴鹿だけです。
Then I wonder what that was just now. It was a pretty strong pull, I felt.
やっぱり、少し休んでいった方が。
No, that wasn't the stagger just now. I was literally pulled back by something. I was still curious about what could have pulled me, but since it wasn't a Yurei, I decided to ignore it. I might have just imagined it after all. Sorry for scaring you. I'll leave for real this time.
はい。お気をつけて。
She bowed again. I waved goodbye and started walking away, more carefully this time. But after I had walked a certain distance, I felt the pull again and couldn't take another step. After that, Kyouko and I experimented with the phenomenon a little bit. We soon realized the pulling force appeared once I separated more than about 10 meters from Kyouko. Oh, man. Oh my god. All right. All right. All right. Let's see how this goes. You just know something good is gonna happen. It was pure speculation, but we concluded that some kind of link must have been formed between the two of us to channel our powers. We couldn't predict whether it was temporary or permanent, but we had no way of cutting it. After brainstorming some more, we decided I would take Kyoko back with me to the Oribe household for the time being. Of course, Suzuka came along too. I ended up using my kotodama to convince Kyoko's family to let her sleep over. At first, I let Kyoko try to speak a kotodama using our link, but it seems she hadn't become able to freely use kotodama after all. When she spoke to her parents, it just came out sounding like regular words, and I didn't feel my power being used. Actually, her parents seemed to really love and trust her, so even without the power of kotodama, they weren't strongly opposed to the idea. Maybe they were aware about their child's situation, and they were like, we're not gonna get a chance like this ever again. Okay, there's this one guy that likes their daughter. They were mainly worried about whether the Oribe Kazuku would be inconvenienced by Kyoko staying at her house. They were actually happy that Kyoko had made a close enough friend to be invited to their house. As for Azuki-san and Kokoro, I used Kotodama to tell them to think nothing of it if they saw Kyoko inside the house. The only problem was what to do with Mana. I explained the whole situation to her and asked her to cooperate. After hearing the story, she seemed pretty annoyed, obviously. But she finally agreed. Her one condition was Kyoko would sleep in Kokoro's room with her, not in my room. Oh, obviously. And that's more or less what happened yesterday. Now it's next morning. By the way, Kokoro tried touching Kyoko too, but she wasn't able to see Suzuka or any other ghosts, Yure. So there must be something special between me and Kyoko after all. Mana was not very happy about that, or the fact that I had to stay within 10 meters of Kyoko at all times. She asked why I didn't just solve the whole situation by blowing away Suzuka's Yure with my kotodama. Then she even started trying to do it herself. After much begging and pleading from Kyoko, with some words from me as well, she reluctantly said she'd wait for a while. But as I warned Kyoko, the longer this drags on, the more likely it is that Mana will try to intervene again. Even ignoring Mana, we can't live within 10 meters of each other forever. So once Kyoko is ready, we'll have to find a solution.
Makoto-kun, hocha desu. Atsui kara kiotsukete kudasai ne.
I like this fucking bullshit, man. Arigato. I think some more as I sip on the kocha Kyoko prepared. Kyoko anticipates that Suzuka's consciousness will grow stronger the longer she stays with us. Eventually, maybe she could talk to her properly. But even Kyoko admits that it's nothing more than a hunch, or maybe even just wishful thinking. How is Suzuka now?
ぼーっとしていますね。
Kyoko reaches her hand out to me. When I glance at it, I see Suzuka looking at me blank. Or maybe she's looking through me. Her gaze is distant, so it's hard to tell. It reminds me of how cats sometimes stare at nothing. She does seem a little more mentally present than yesterday, but not to the point where we would be able to communicate with her. Kyoko is looking at Suzuka with a truly contented smile. Since Suzuka is still how she was 10 years ago, they look less like Osana and Najimi and more like Shimai, or even mother and her daughter. Kyoko said Suzuka was a Nesan to her back then, so maybe she's enjoying the feeling of having the opposite relationship now. Looking at how happy Kyoko is, I'm glad about what's happened. But at the same time, I worry about how painful it will be for her to let Suzuka go for a second time. Still, all we can do for now is try to make things go as well as possible on the way to that eventual parting. Jesus Christ, how is this gonna go? It's lunchtime. I'm helping out at the kiseten. Just in case, I've asked Kyoko to sit down at one of the tables closer to the kitchen. It could be problematic if I run into the 10-meter boundary in the middle of cooking. Nice. She's wearing her frilly dress. Wait, it's not waffle. What's the term again? Hira. Okay, hira. She sits there in one corner of one of the corner seats, doing nothing. And since this is the considered part of the building, Kokoro and Asugi-san react as if she dropped in as a kokyakusha. As a Kotodama user, maybe I'm not the right person to say this, but it really is amazing how flexible human perception is. The lunchtime rush ends, and most of the customers leave. Asuki-san had been on break since a little while ago. But we're still open for business, so new customers do occasionally come in.
やっほー、ココロンお邪魔するよ
Oh, it's been a while, Hotaru. I'm happy to see her. Hotaru peeks into the kisuden and opens the door.
ー。あ、ホタルンいらっしゃい。誠さんもこんにちは。
Oh, konnichiwa, Hotaru. Without waiting to be seated, she trots up to the counter and sits down in front of me.
なんだか珍しい人がいますね。
She whispers to me, looking in Kyoko's direction as I place a glass of ice water on the counter. You mean Kyouko?
ええ、それとその隣にいる小さな子は誰ですか？
Ooh, this is important. How is she able to see it?
見かけない顔のような気がしますけど。
Wait, you can see that? It's clear she's talking about Suzuka. Will she ever stop surprising me? You can see Yure too? I whisper back to her so no one else can hear.
いえ、そういうのはなかったと思いますが、その言い回しだとあの子もしかしなくても。
She's a Yure apparently. Wataru sits down wordlessly and starts to drink her water.
いやはや、誠さんが来てから本当に予想もしなかったようなことばっかり起きますね。
You're taking this pretty calmly.
驚いてますよ、蛍なりに。
I still see no trace of surprise on her face as she puts her half-empty glass back on the counter and looks deep into my eyes. Half-empty? Oh, that's the kind of person he is, not half glass full.
何がどうしてそうなったんですか？
Well, to make a long story short, it's because I've been helping someone out again. I can't explain everything out here in the kisuden, so I summarize things as briefly as I can. She pretends to read the menu as I whisper, so others in the area will think I'm explaining the menu items to her.
そうですか。うまくいくといいですね。
I hope so too.
とにかく。
She glances at Kyouko and Suzuka, out of the corner of her eye again. I still don't understand how she's able to see Suzuka. Unlike Kyouko, she doesn't normally see Yure. Maybe there's a type of Yure that's visible to certain people and not others. Again, what's special about her? What's special about Hotaru? She's not affected by the Kotodama, and now she's able to see a special kind of Yure. What is she? But the weird thing is, even my Kotodama doesn't work on Hotaru. So how can Suzuka be visible to her? I thought her body might have some kind of physical difference from other people that gave her immunity to spiritual powers. But if that were the case... Anyway, that's not important. Hotaru's the girl I made a promise with. I know I can trust her, and I want to trust her.
ホタルに言えるのは、あの子のこと大切にしてあげてほしいってことですね。
And how are you supposed to do that? She's not even reacting to anything. Treat her well? What do you mean?
はい。幽霊かもしれませんけど、小さな女の子ですから優しくしないと。
Hotaru grins, then slowly narrows her eyes confidentially. Confidentially?
ホタルにはあの子自身が自分を幽霊だと思っていないように見えるんです。
I didn't think of that. It would be very sad for Suzuka to suffer a second death without even understanding her first one.
変な言い方ですけど、幽霊とはいえ生まれてしまったものですから、なるべくそこには尊厳があってほしいななんて思っちゃいますね。 蛍は。
She smiles gracefully, down the rest of her water, and stands up.
ごちそうさまでした。ホタル、帰ります。
Isn't it convenient she just randomly shows up like this and then she disappears? What is going on? But we know that she's observing him for some reason. But this is conveniently timed, so it might be her, maybe part of her whatever she's doing. The time she drops the whisper and speaks in a fairly loud voice. This time she drops the whisper and speaks in a fairly loud voice. Probably she's trying to make sure people nearby hear her.
もう帰っちゃうの？
Kokoro, hearing Hotaru's sudden outburst, leaves the table she was cleaning up and comes over to us.
っていうか、ホタル、まだ何も頼んでないよね。うん、今日は冷やかしに来ただけだから。じゃあまたね。
Flashing a smile, Hotaru waves her hand a couple of times and exits the kiseten.
ホタル、どうしたんだろう。変なの。
She probably left because she realized her presence would only complicate matters with Kyouko and Suzuka. I'm so glad that Hotaru is such a considerate person. Of course, we already know there's something suspicious about Hotaru. The sun descends through the sky, and soon the kiseten is almost totally empty. Kokoro goes on break too, and I'm left as the only one on duty. But there are no new orders coming in, so I'm not busy.
誠くん、終わりました。
Thanks, and sorry for the bother. Kyouko had asked if she could help with anything, so I decided to take her offer and assign her some work, but she worked harder than I expected.
いえ、私でもお役に立てることがあってよかったです。鈴鹿も興味を持ってくれたみたいですし。
She looks down to her side with a cheerful smile. I'm not touching Kyouko, so I can't tell, but that's probably where Suzuka is standing.
むしろもっと他にもお手伝いすることありませんか？居候させていただいているんですから、せめてものご恩返しを。
I'm happy you feel that way, but it's fine really. After all, technically this isn't my house at all. Mana and I are freeloading on the Narrated Kazoku just as much as Kyouko is. This household, man.
でもやっぱりなんだか申し訳なくて、特にマナちゃんは多分私のことを快く思っていないのではないかと。ずっと部屋にこもったきりで降りてきませんし。
I think that's just because Mana likes lazing around in her room more than socializing. But anyway, Kyouko is right that we owe Mana a favor for letting us go ahead with this arrangement. Would you like to be closer with Mana? Personally, I'd like Mana to be friends with Kyouko. But well, sometimes people just aren't compatible. Simply sticking two people together doesn't always result in them getting along.
はい、もちろんです。正直、誠くんと一緒で、いえ、誠くん以上に恐れ多い感じですけど、私、マナちゃんみたいな女の子、憧れます。
Kyouko? Are you attracted to girls too?
そういうことではなくて、綺麗でかっこいいじゃないですか、マナちゃんって。すごく堂々としていて、揺るがない感じで、私にはないものをたくさん持っているというか。
I see. Mana really is the opposite of Kyouko in some ways.
でも、仲良くしたいなんて、それも私の身勝手ですよね。
She sighs and slumps her shoulders.
ゆうべ、私ちょっと調子に乗って、こちらから話しかけてしまったんです。お世話になっているお礼に、何か私にできることはありませんかって。
And what did she say? I can pretty much guess what Mana said, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
とにかく余計なことを何もしないでほしいわ。と。
Yep, just as I thought.
話しかけないでってことですよね。つまり。
I don't think she really meant it that harshly though. Mana never couches her words in euphemism, so people might think she's a much colder person than she really is. In this case, she probably only meant what she said. But actually, I'm surprised you don't get angry at her, even when she's rude to you.
当然じゃないですか。ご迷惑をおかけしているのはこちらなんですし、昨日だって鈴鹿のことを思いとどまってくださって本当に感謝しています。一体どうしたら私のこの気持ちを伝えられるんでしょうか。伝えたいと思うことそのものがもうすでにおこがましいんですよね。
Her voice dwindles with every sentence. Don't look down on yourself so much, and I don't think Mana hates you either. It's more likely that right now, Mana just doesn't have any interest in Kyouko either way. She agreed to be friends with Kyouko in my request, but she still sees everyone other than me as being below her. But that doesn't mean she dislikes them, just that she's not very interested.
そうでしょうか。
Yeah, I think she's simply not interested in you. There are some things in the outside world that have drawn her interest, like manga and food. Now she's reading manga as well. But for most things, especially when they don't involve me. Excuse me. Wait, give me a second. Okay, Matt.
興味がない。
A look of despair comes across Kyoko's face. Oops, I think I should have chosen my words more carefully.
どうしたら私に興味を持ってもらえるんでしょうか。
Got to think of it. I think she first opened up to Kokoro over their shared love of manga. One day, Kokoro lent Mana some shoujo manga to help her kill time, and she became obsessed with it. She finished the first volume in a flash and went back to Kokoro to ask for the next volume, or so I heard.
漫画、私あまり詳しくないです。
Alright, Ryaju.
せっかくアドバイスしていただいたのにすみません。
Then, what about food?
食べ物ですか？
Yeah. Hi. Mana has a pretty big appetite, so I think she has a weakness for tasty foods, especially sweet things like donuts and such. I remember once when we were kids, a shopping expedition from the village came back with donuts, and Mana devoured most of them. Devoured
ドーナツ。
donuts. Kyouko's eyes sparkle.
わかりました。私それなら得意です。頑張って作りますね。
Huh? Kyouko, you can cook donuts? Donuts? I thought you could only buy donuts in stores. But now I'm hearing that you can cook them yourself?
はい。こちらの設備を貸していただくことにはなりますけど、よろしいでしょうか。
I think it should be fine. We could probably ask Asagi-san first, though. I'm interested in the recipe too. What do you need for the ingredients?
ですね。
After I closed the kiseten and got permission from Asagi-san, we got to work churning out donuts. Kyouko was much more skilled at cooking than I expected, and even Asagi-san and Kokoro were looking on with amazement.
何事？
Oh, first time we saw her wear the casual clothes. Mana must have been drawn here by the smell of donuts. I remember the legend of Iwato Gakure, the goddess sulking in her cave, drawn out by festivities organized by the other gods. Now the first phase of the plan is done. Kyouko and I glanced at each other and smiled.
京子さんがドーナツ作ったの。すっごく美味しそうだよ。
I just realized she's wearing gloves at home. Well, she really does feel cold.
ドーナツですって？京子が？
Mana looks at Kyouko, and it's obvious from her expression she's seeing Kyouko in a whole new light.
はい、皆さんのお世話になっているので感謝の気持ちを込めて。そう、それは至少な心がけね。
She nods with a satisfied smile. Mana, sometimes you're a real open book, aren't you?
お口に合うといいんですけど。無用の心配ね。これだけいい匂いをさせておいて美味しくないわけがないわ。
Dismissing Kyoko's concern with a word, she looks greedily at the mountain donuts with me. Greedily. I was a little worried that she made too many, but judging from her expression, she's ready to slurp them all up.
これもう食べてもいいのよね。はいもちろんです。どうぞ。大試食会。じゃあお茶を入れるわ。どうぞ召し上がれ。
Tentatively, Kyoko places a large plate filled with donuts onto the table.
いただくわ。
Mana drags the plate toward her. I like Kokoro's expression.
ってマナーちゃん、どうしてお皿ごと持っていくの？どうぞと言われたから。そうだけど、もしかしてこれを一人で全部食べるつもり？これが私の分ではないの？
Jesus Christ. Mana, even I don't think you should eat all those. We still have Bangohan to eat after this, though Mana could probably manage 2 dinners a day without any problem.
私だって食べたいよ。
Me too.
味見くらいはさせてもらいたいわね。
Mana's expression darkens slightly as she senses that some of her donuts might be taken away. Her appetite is really something else.
まだ材料はありますから、足りないようならもっと作りましょうか。それには及ばないわ。それより京子、せっかくだからあなたも一緒に食べなさい。
Mana went out of her way to invite someone to eat with her. Her opinion of Kyoko must have skyrocketed in the last few minutes.
そうだよね。独り占めよりみんなで食べる方が絶対美味しいよね。
そうね。じゃあみんな手を合わせて。
Let's eat. Oh my.
食感がしっとりしているものとさっくりしているものを作りました。
Man, now I want some donuts. Anyway.
それぞれプレーンとチョコの味があります。
Wow, great. The one I got was a plain moist one. It tastes just as good as the ones you can buy at a store. And it's not just because they're fresh out of a fryer. Kyoko's recipe and her cooking skills are top-notch too.
4種類。つまり最低4つは食べないとダメってことだ。
一つが大きいから結構お腹にたまりそうね。
すみません。もっと小さくするべきだったでしょうか。そんなことないわ。ちょうどいい大きさよ。
Mana flatly denies Azuki-san's observation in between bites as she scarfs down one after another.
むしろこれくらいはないと食べた気がしないわ。マナちゃんハイペースすぎだよ。そう？むしろ抑えているつもりだけど。
If Mana wanted to, she could down the entire plate before any of us got to our second donut.
そうかも。ちょうどいい甘さだからどんどん食べられるのよ。
そうね。あんまり甘ったるいとすぐ限界が来ちゃうけど。
これはいくらでも入っちゃいそうな感じがする。ありがとうございます。
Kyoko smiles shyly and bows to us. Then she looks down and to the side with a bigger smile. Probably Suzuka is standing there.
でも調子に乗ってあんまり食べると危険かな。
Kyoko had started reaching for another donut, but hesitates.
危険？何が？
Mana looks at her in astonishment. While she waits for Kokoro's answer, she grabs yet another donut from the plate.
いやほらその体重的な意味で。太る心配ということ？うん、そう。
You're thin, so there's no problem you get a little fatter.
そうですよね。そうかな。
そうね。でもその油断が積もり積もってある日気がつくと取り返しのつかないところまで来ていたりするのよね。
Yeah, that's true. As she says this, Azuki-san reaches for another donut. It's grass anyway.
はあ、いいよね、お母さんは。体重増えても全部でしょ。
She looks enviously at Azuki-san's ample bust and sighs again.
あら、それは私もよ。
Wow. The only odd one out is Hotaru. If you think about it, every girl in this VN is endowed except for Hotaru. I wonder if there's a plot significance there.
マナちゃんも私だけ家族の中で仲間外れ。
It's not even small. It's fine. It's just that everyone else in this room is very endowed. When I gain weight, my breasts don't get bigger. I do mostly gain muscle mass rather than fat though.
兄さんまでそういうこと。いいもん。こんな美味しいもの食べられない方が悲しいもん。
Having made her decision, Kokoro confidently takes another donut and quickly starts attacking it. Kyoko chuckles. She seems to be enjoying this. She really does seem so much more cheerful than before. It's all thanks to Suzuka appearing. I nonchalantly walk up to Kyoko and discreetly graze my elbow against hers. Suzuka is standing on the other side of Kyoko from me. She's looking at the donuts on the table. I'm suddenly remember what Hotaru told me. I had to treat Suzuka well. I take a small plate and put one donut on it and place it on the table halfway between Kyoko, where Kyoko is sitting, and where Suzuka is standing. She must have understood what I'm trying to do. But Suzuka probably can't eat the donut, so will being given one make her frustrated? Kyoko looks at me and nods slightly, as if to say, I know, don't worry. Oh no. The weight gain!
お久しぶりです。体重計さん。
I like how there's the spooky BGM.
最近は測ってなかったけど、大丈夫だよね。今日は少しだけ食べ過ぎちゃったけど、普段は節制してるし、あれ、よく考えると食べる量が増えてたかも。兄さんの作るご飯は美味しいし、お母さんも兄さんがたくさん食べるからってメニューを増やしちゃってたし。でも、マナちゃんも京子さんもたくさん食べてるけどスタイルいいし、私も大丈夫だよね。よーし、いきます。そろーり。今、体重計がきしんだかも。気のせいだよね。気のせい。落ち着いて、ゆっくり深呼吸を。神様、お願いします。出た。
49.
ちら。
49 kilograms. I don't use kilograms. I use pounds, so I don't know how heavy this is. Wait, you know what? I could convert that now. 49 kilograms to pounds. 108. Average weight for Japanese woman. Japanese woman. roughly 116 or to 117. But she's okay, Japanese teenager, female teenage girl. Approximately 52.9 kilograms. Okay, she's still in the she, she's still in the lighter side.
あれこれって
Oh, okay, but she's not taking it well, so you know. So sleepy. Okay, I'm also kind of getting there. It's 9 p.m., so could probably go 2 more hours or something. Assuming I don't get tired. As I left the room, I fought to keep a big yawn down. I had been busy with a bunch of things since the morning, so I was tired. Being mindful of Suzuka, building relations with Kyouko and Mana. Well, the one thing seemed to have improved quite a bit by making donuts. Even now, Kyouko and Mana were discussing shoujo manga and gradually expanding their conversation. I thought Kyouko didn't know much about manga. Maybe seeing that had put me at ease, or because it was after a meal. I was suddenly very sleepy. I'd probably wake up if I got into the bath. I'd probably feel good to go to sleep like this, but there was still housework left to do, so I couldn't just go to sleep. Mana wasn't likely going to help, so I couldn't ask Kyouko to help either. Oh, right. Kokoro is... The instant I pictured Kokoro's face, I heard that voice. Kokoro scream! When that thought occurred to me, my sleepiness instantly blew away. I rushed to the source of the voice. Inside the house, it wasn't likely anything life-threatening, but Kokoro's voice was not something casual. Kokoro! Without slowing momentum, I dashed straight to the washroom. All right, let's do it. Kokoro, 大丈夫? Are you? What happened?
どうもして、
A wild boar?
イノシシよりも豚さんで、お腹とカニの腕がぷくりじゃなくて、兄さん、どうして入ってきてる
Because you were screaming.
の？そうなんだ。心配かけてごめんね。でもなくて、私、裸だから。
Yes. What a Chad. It's beautiful.
何言ってるの？恥ずかしいから、早く出て行って。
Even after you guys did that. Kokoro. Before I could warn her it was dangerous, Kokoro stepped off of the platform. I have the feeling of something soft sitting on top of my body. My back is on the floor. That's... Seeing that, I took a deep breath of relief. Well, this was something I had done to know Kokoro's feelings. In the end, everything happened mostly according to her pace. Although I'd said that I was underestimating Kokoro, my immortal, is a lewd girl. Well, that's good to know there's continuation of the age teens. I mean, they did have sex before, so it makes sense that just because we started someone's quote unquote route, so to speak, it doesn't mean they stop having those kinds of activities together. Although the situation was kind of forced. Like he goes into the bathroom and then she randomly asks trips over him, and then her omanko just touches his chin chin, and then she decides to rub him. What's the term? I forgot the term for that. But anyway, she rubs him, and then she didn't want to do it inside because she felt a fetish to see him kum, right? And then she started drinking it. Anyway. But at least it's good to know it's the kind of VN that's like it's a little bit more natural, because it'll be weird, like, you know, they canonically they do have sex and then suddenly she just stops not having any more feelings or some sort of that kind of relationship with him, you know. So yeah, but we are in Kyoko's round, so I could have at least, well, I don't know when they're gonna do it with Kyoko. We still have probably 2 hours. I don't know. It's the start of a new week. It goes without saying that I walked to school with Kyoko this morning. The need to be within 10 meters of her at all times can be surprisingly inconvenient in various ways. When either of us has to go to the bathroom, we both have to ask to be excused at the same time. And everyone is going to be like, ooh, what are they doing together? Kyoko will have to skip PE, or I'll have to set up some way for us to stay together using my kotodama. It looks like it'll be pretty difficult to continue this lifestyle for very long. But more importantly,
もう
Kyoko's behavior is starting to become a problem. It's been 3 days since Suzuka appeared, and now there's some amount of variation in her expressions. I can understand why Kyoko feels so happy about it. But while she's trying to be careful not to interact with Suzuka in front of other people, Kyoko is so happy to be with her that she often slips. Meaning that to other people, it looks like she's creepily talking to herself. The atmosphere in the classroom is a little tense. Our classmates aren't actively avoiding Kyoko, but it's still obvious that they're paying attention to her odd behavior. I should warn her during the next break. As soon as the bell rings, I go to Kyoko's desk. Ne, Kyoko, can you come with me for a minute?
はい
As she nods, I take her hand and lead her out of the classroom. I can feel people staring at us holding hands, but I ignore them for now. I lead her into an empty corner of the hallway. There's nobody around here, so there's no risk of us being overheard.
誠くん
When I stop walking, she cocks her head to the side in confusion. Next to her, Suzuka's looking at me with a similar expression. Sorry about that. I was just a little concerned.
え
I think you are interacting with Suzuka a little bit too much in front of other people. She covers her mouth with her hand as her face clouds. It seems she gets my drift.
ごめんなさい気をつけていたつもりだったんですけど出てました
It's not just me. It's clear that everyone in the class can tell something's up. They look at you, see you laughing to yourself, looking surprised, and so on. She hangs her head and slumps her shoulders. Suzuka looks on curiously at Kyoko's reaction. I understand why you're so excited about being with her, though. As I continue, I look down at Suzuka. It's clear that her self-awareness is growing over time. Until just a little while ago, she seemed like a niño, but now she's able to react when people talk to her. Thanks to her, you've become much more cheerful, and I think that's great. It's just that I think you should avoid letting that show in front of other people.
はい誠くんの言う通りですねごめんなさい昔と同じ失敗をしてしまうところでした気をつけます周りを気味悪がらせていたらますます友達になってくれる人なんていなくなっちゃいますよね
As long as you understand, that's good enough for me. I'm not mad at her or anything. It's just things are going so well for you right now, so I feel bad to have to warn you over something stupid like this.
はいご忠告ありがとうございます
She nods in assent, then turns to look at Suzuka.
ごめんね鈴鹿あなたの相手がここではできないの
Does Suzuka understand what Kyoko is saying or not? I can't tell just by looking.
いい子だからなるべくおとなしくしていてね帰ったらまた遊ぼうね
They're really like a pair of shimai.
本当に何から何までありがとうございます。気合を入れて気をつけますね。
Thankfully, she seems to be taking me seriously, but well, things really start looking bad. I'll help you out, so don't stress out too much over it. Knowing Kyouko, she could very well take me a little too seriously, try too hard and make things worse.
いえ、ただでさえ誠くんにはご迷惑をおかけしているのに、これ以上は。
She waves her hand flustered. I don't see it that way. I've come this far to help her, so I might as well go all the way. Anyway, Tonikaku, let's just try to be careful. That's all. Okay, let's go back.
はい。
She agrees verbally, but for some reason she doesn't start walking. She clutches my hand, trembling. Kyouko? どうした?
ごめんなさい。足がすくんじゃって。
This isn't good. I remember Kyouko explaining that people used to think Kyouko was weird. I remember Kokoro explaining that people used to think Kyouko was weird in grade school, so she would talk to Yurei in front of people. My warning might have made her remember her social trauma from back then. That's alright, I'm here. And so is Suzuka. Don't worry. I whisper the kotodama into her ear and adjust my grip on her hand. Suzuka takes Kyoko's other hand as if imitating me. Kyoko's expression immediately changes to a smile.
今の言霊ですよね。
Yes, but a pretty weak one. How do you feel? Do you think you can walk now?
はい、もう大丈夫です。本当にありがとうございます。
She happily steps forward. The trembling in her legs has completely stopped. Great, keep going. Unfortunately, we're too late. As soon as we come into the door, an obvious murmur spreads through the class. I mean, they were holding hands. Of course, we can't exactly turn around and leave again at this point. Kyouko and I make our way back to our desks, trying our best to ignore the stares. And a few moments later, the teacher arrives and class begins. Suzuka must be staying still, since I can see that Kyouko isn't making any strange motions or talking to thin air anymore. The lesson goes by smoothly. Once it's over, I start to go back to Kyoko's desk again. I'm worried that if I leave her alone in this kind of atmosphere, she'll start getting nervous again. But before I can leave, Koichi comes by my desk to talk.
なあ、お前。もしかして朝比奈と付き合うことにしたのか?
Huh? Not really. なんで? どうして? And by going out with, he means to ask whether Kyouko and I are lovers. Are koyuto. She and I are friends, but we aren't lovers. We never talk to each other about love either.
いや、そうか。まあそうじゃないかとはなんとなく思ったが。ほら、さっき手を引いて出て行ってまた手を引いて戻ってきただろ。しかも今朝は一緒に登校したらしいって噂も聞いたしな。
Ah, soka. That must mean people here consider those to be things that lovers do. I also get the feeling that several nearby students are eavesdropping on my conversation with Koichi.
まあでも、お前が違うって言うなら別にいいんだ。
I mean, I don't think we are, Kyouko. We aren't lovers, are we? Kyouko is sitting at her desk, watching us talk. So I throw the question to her.
はい、もちろんです。
I really like that. I really like her expression. This is a very good one.
そんな私なんかが誠くんとお付き合いするなんてあまりにも恐れ多いですし、お友達になっていただいただけでも身に余る光栄なのに恋人なんてとても。
She shrinks into her chair and looks down at her desk. See? She agrees with me. I don't think her explanation leaves any room for doubt, but for some reason Koichi's smile looks a little ironic. Actually, it might have. I have a feeling it turned to something worse.
その割には下の名前で呼び合ってるんじゃないか。
Well, we're friends after all. I mean, it's not unreasonable to think they're just saying that so no one will question them about it, but they probably agree to say they're just friends. Kind of reminds me of that one time in Mashiro Ino Symphony, Sana edition, where Sana and Shingo promise to not act as if they're lovers, but Shingo just flat out says out loud that they aren't lovers. And Sana just ran away from the classroom and started crying. Anyway,
ま、お前はそうなんだろうな。
he mutters as he glances at Kyouko.
今日の朝比奈の様子がおかしかった原因はそこかと思っちまってな。
What is?
朝比奈の方には友達以上の意識があるんじゃないかと思ったってことさ。
You just know. I doubt that. I know that Suzuka is the reason behind her strange behavior today. But hang on a minute. Doesn't that mean that Kyoko's behavior can be explained away by this misconception? He's gonna use it. He's gonna do it. Well, I can't predict the future. We do get along well. She even made donuts for Mana.
ほう？
I hear people whispering, "Yeah, Penny! See? They're practically family already!" Out of the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of Mana, who had been ignoring the whole ruckus, and see her eyebrow twitch slightly. So what I'm saying is, there's always a possibility. Mana's not gonna like this. I mean, we're in the same class, so there's even a possibility you might go out with her one day, don't you think?
それはね。
He mutters in a low voice before continuing in a more normal.
いや、俺にはもう彼女がいるって前に言ったろ。
Why did his face cloud over for just a moment? Does he have something against Kyouko? Kyouko looks up from her desk with a determined look on her face and interrupts us.
誠くんが私なんかと噂になったらご迷惑だと思うので、ちゃんと言っておきます。私、確かに誠くんに憧れています。でもそれは、誠くんが転校してきてすぐに友達を作っていたのを見て、すごいな、羨ましいなって思ったからで、どうやったら私も誠くんみたいにみんなと仲良くできるのか、秘訣を教えてもらいたい。つまり、弟子入りみたいなものなんです。だから、誤解しないでください。
The whole class was silent for a moment, partly because she made her declaration in a louder voice than anyone usually heard from her. But within seconds, the whole class starts giggling. They're not laughing maliciously. It's more like they're laughing in relief. I don't think their reaction is about my love life. I hear more whispers. Asahina-san just wanted to make friends, so she wasn't just being aloof. As if suddenly realizing what she's done, Kyoko blushes deeply and buries her face in her desk again.
そうか。なるほどな。
Kyoichi nods, with a strangely refreshed expression.
くだらない話をして悪かったな。
Koichi? He doesn't answer and returns to his seat, waving goodbye. Oh yeah, okay. I get it. Because remember, she was the type of person who deliberately avoided contact with people because she was fearing about her whole ghost thing, and so some people might have interpreted it as like, this person just is very antisocial and doesn't want to hang out with us, and they did mention aloof and all that. So now that's cleared up, it kind of gave them a different light into how she is. So yeah, I never quite followed his thinking during our conversation, but it seems like the whole class's attitude toward Kyouko has improved a little now. I think that's a wonderful development. Yeah, they were misinterpreting how she was trying to avoid them. That change in attitude bore fruit almost immediately. As soon as lunch break started, I saw several classmates crowd around Kyoko's desk. They had brought textbooks and notes, so I assumed they were asking her for help understanding some tricky parts of the lesson. Wait, she also one of the smartest students in their class? That wasn't established before, but whatever. I've never seen this happen before. Now that the classmates have left, Kyoko sits back in her chair and sighs with a satisfied expression on her face. It looks like you got a good chance to speak to all those people. I walk up to her desk, and when she sees me, her face lights up.
はい、おかげさまで。
Were you teaching them something?
そうです。授業で先生の説明が今一つよくわからなかったから教えてほしいって言われて、順を追って最初から説明したらよくわかったってすごく感謝されました。
That's great.
本当は前から話してみたいと思ってたんだけど、近寄りがたい雰囲気だったからって言われました。一人が好きで友達なんか煩わしいから欲しくないのかと思ってたって。
She knocks on her temple with one hand, smiling shyly.
私、自分で友達を遠ざけていたんですね。本当に反省です。
I'm glad all those misconceptions were put to rest. Her passionate declaration earlier seemed very off the cuff. But I think that's probably what made it so effective.
ええ、どうも私、結構お高く泊まった人だと思われてたみたいです。
Wait, what's her term?
ええ、どうも私、結構お高く泊まった人だと思われてたみたいです。
Okay.
自分では考えたこともなかったんですけど。
I could sort of believe that people might get that impression if they only saw her from afar and never talked to her. She's beautiful, gets good grades, has a special air about her, rarely talks to anyone, and on top of that, she's a Miko, rumored to have special powers. Now that I've become more used to the school environment, I can start to see how out of place she must look to everyone else. Okay, I get it. Of course, the same goes for me and Mana, and the class accepted us readily enough. They're all friendly people. So maybe the odds were always on Kyoko's side. All she needed was some kind of opportunity to break the ice. Well then, to help erase the impression of you, why don't you try to actively dispel it? The more odd things she does, the more she'll be pushing people away. Conversely, the more normal things she does, the more she'll be attracting them to her. So become a mariachi. Why don't you start by eating lunch together with us in the classroom? That way, people will see that you can be talkative with your friends.
なるほど。
The more people see her laughing and talking with people, the more their impression of her will improve. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. I'm not forcing you.
嫌だなんてそんな、むしろ光栄です。ただ、お兄ちゃん、お腹が空いたわ。早くお昼にしましょう。
Sure, Kyoko's joining us today.
そう。
Mana simply nods and reply without asking anything more.
すみません。私なんかがご一緒させていただいて。別に構わないわよ。あなたの作ったドーナツ、本当に美味しかったし。
I was right. The donuts really have pushed Kyoko a few dozen rungs up the ladder in Mana's mind.
ありがとうございます。実は今日もおやつ用に少し作ってきたんですけど、いかがですか？
What do you mean snack? For Mana, it's like, what do you mean snack?
いただくわ。
I knew it! Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. Hey, Koichi, do you want to join us? I call out to Koichi, who is getting up from his desk.
俺は遠慮しとくわ。せっかく誘ってくれたのに悪いな。
Okay, that's too bad, but oh well. Maybe some other time.
あ、
He glances briefly at Kyoko, then leaves the classroom. Kyoko looks a little put out. This isn't the first time I thought this, but I wonder if something happened between Kyoko and Koichi in the past. What a Koichi is relative to Suzuka. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I'll have to ask one of them when I get the chance. I had this feeling. Wait, actually, no. Okay, I'll let the story tell me. I was about to search VNDB about it. After we finish eating, Kyouko and Mana return to their seats. Koichi returns at just about the same time. Maybe now is a good time to ask him about Kyouko.
今日放課後時間あるか？
Or so I thought. But apparently there's something he wants to talk to me about first. Sure, what's up?
いや、ちょっと話をしたくてな。俺と朝比奈のことだ。
Oh, he's proactively approaching him about it. Very nice.
気になってるんじゃないか？
Yeah, I noticed that you both seem to pay special attention to each other. Like, you try to avoid looking at each other. I wondered if there was some kind of issue between you two.
やっぱりな。
Will you tell me about it?
ああ、ただちょっと長くなるからこの場で話すのはな。
Okay.
だから後で中庭に来てくれ。そこで説明する。用事があるから結構遅い時間になるかもしれないが。
That's fine. I thought of anything in particular planned for this afternoon anyway. It must be a pretty complicated story if he can't tell it here. I should probably also make sure Mana and Kokoro go home without me. By the time Koichi arrives in the courtyard, the sun is starting to set. He walks up to me with 2 bottled drinks in one hand.
悪い、すっかり遅くなっちまったな。
Don't worry about it. I was just reading a book while I waited.
そうか。
He holds out one of the bottles to me. For me?
ああ、遅れた詫びだ。炭酸は飲めるよな。
Yes. Arigato. After I take the bottle, Koichi smiles and sits down next to me. But he doesn't say anything, nor does he open his bottle. As I watch him, I take sips from mine. Eventually, as if he's waiting for me to finish my soda, he finally starts to speak.
俺には年が一つ違う姉がいたんだ。
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Wait, let's hear the name of his sister. His words seem sudden after the long silence.
まあ、いたっていう過去形の通りで、10年も前のことなんだけどな。
Alright, I fucking knew it. It is straight up. I knew it. I should have seen this earlier.
名前は鈴鹿っていう。
They really did it. He looks at me, gauging my reaction.
その顔は知ってたって感じだな。朝比奈から聞いたか。
Yes, but I didn't know she was your Nesan.
そうか。どこまで聞いてる？
She was Kyoko's Daishinyu, but she passed away in an accident down at the lake.
そうだ。鈴鹿が死んで朝比奈だけが生き残った。それが当時の俺にはあまりにもやるせなくてな。今から思えばバカなことをしたと思うんだが、朝比奈にも辛く当たっちまったんだ。お前のせいで鈴鹿が死んだんじゃないかってひどいことを言ってな。
I see. Considering his age at the time and the trauma of losing a family member, it's understandable that he might have lashed out. And now 10 years later, he does seem to regret it.
本当に辛くて苦しんでいたのは目の前で鈴鹿を亡くした朝比奈なんだってことがその時の俺には分からなかった。自慢の姉を亡くした弟の俺が一番辛くて一番悲しいんだと思い込んでた。
Koichi relaxes his tight grip on the bottle he's holding and opens the cap. He swallows whatever words he was about to say next and washes it down with some tansan.
それで結局お互いに距離を取るようになっちまってな。まあ朝比奈も朝比奈で俺に対して申し訳ないという気持ちがあったんだろうと思う。
Yes, you're right. Kyoko really blamed herself for what happened to Suzuka.
だろうな。そういう性格なんだ、昔から。だからなかなか友達ができなくて鈴鹿も放っておかなかったんだ。なのに俺は姉の信用を傷つけて孤独へ追いやっちまった。
What do you want to do now, Koichi? Do you want to mend your relationship with Kyoko?
そうだな。そうできたらいいとは思うんだが、それも身勝手な話だとも思う。ガキの時と同じで、自分がモヤモヤしているのをすっきりさせたいだけのような。そうじゃないか。
I think everyone is a little bit like that. Everyone wants to heal. It's like how Kyouko has longed for closure for all these years. And that's why she's so happy now after meeting Suzuka's Yure.
そうかもな。許されたい、救われたいってやつか。だとしても、一方的にこっちの気持ちを押し付けることはもうできない。それが10年もかかってようやく俺が学んだ苦い教訓だ。
You're a good man, Koichi. I mean it. It may have taken a long time, but he finally reached that conclusion all on his own.
今日の朝日奈やたらと楽しそうだったから何かあったんじゃないかと思ってな。それがお前のおかげだとしたら礼を言おうと思ったんだ。
No, I haven't really done anything important.
友達になったってだけでも十分すぎるくらい大したことさ。
He smiles and claps me on the shoulder.
まあとにかく俺と朝日奈の関係はそういうことだ。昔のことをずるずる引きずっちまってる。いいことじゃないとは思うが、なかなかな。
He squints up at the setting sun.
別にお前に仲立ちしてほしいとは思っちゃいないんだ。ただ朝日奈とうまくやっているならこれからもよろしく頼む。
I will. Of course I'd do that even if he didn't ask me to.
じゃあまたな。遅い時間に呼び出して悪かった。
He walks away briskly, down towards the front gate. I wave at him as he recedes into the distance. Well, you heard what he said. I speak aloud in a low voice, then start walking myself. A few seconds later, a third person starts walking too. They're less than 10 meters behind me, naturally. Oh yeah. At that kind of distance, sometimes you can't help but overhear people talking, even if they're keeping their voices down. Kyouko doesn't say anything, and I don't look back. But I don't have to look at her face to know that there's a happy smile on it. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the 10 meters thing, not gonna lie. It's Tuesday. After getting Kyoko's permission, I've arranged for her and Koichi to meet. The location is the same as yesterday, the school courtyard.
あ
The two of them stand facing each other silently for a while. It's hard to tell from their faces what's exactly they're thinking, but I'm sure a lot of emotions are going through their minds. I deliberately keep out of it, trusting that they'll naturally handle it on their own. If they can't do it themselves, then there was no point to this meeting anyway. Although I might have been the trigger, they need to take it from here. I look at the spot next to Kyouko. Suzuka is probably standing there. How does she see Kyouko and her own Ototo? What does she feel about them?
久しぶりだな。朝日奈とこうやってまともに話すの。
Koichi eventually makes the first move.
そうですね。何年ぶりでしょう。
Kyouko jumps a little at his voice, but she doesn't look away from him.
たく、同じクラスだってのに何やってたんだか。情けねえ。ずいぶん迷惑かけちまったな。
He hits himself lightly on the head and rubs his hair.
それは私の方です。鈴鹿を、大切なお姉さんを奪ってしまったのは私なんですから。謝って済むことでないのは分かっていますが、本当にごめんなさい。
いや、朝日奈のせいじゃないさ。顔を上げてくれ。
He shakes his head with a sad smile.
誰のせいでもない。運が悪かった。本当にそれだけなんだと思う。 逆のパターンだって十分ありえたはずだ。
The other way. Sumari Suzuka could have survived and Kyoko died.
もっと言えば二人とも死んでいた可能性だってあったわけだろ。鈴鹿はその最悪の結果に抗って朝比奈を助けたんだ。だから朝比奈を恨むっていうのは鈴鹿の気持ちを無駄にすることなんだよな。
浅川くん。
He smiles and stretches out his right hand, a little awkwardly.
随分遠回りしちまったが友達としてやり直したい。これが俺の正直な気持ちだ。朝比奈はどうかな。
もちろん、私も浅川くんと友達になりたいです。
She shakes his hand as tears spill from her eyes. As we part with Koichi, Kyoko says she wants to talk things over with me. So we make our way to the library prep room. Kyoko sits down in a chair and breathes out deeply, as if to expel the heat from her body. I sit down opposite of her, so we can talk more easily. I guess I should say Gokuro. I'm glad you were able to make up with Koichi.
はい、ありがとうございます。誠くんのおかげです。このお礼、どうやってしたらいいんでしょうか。
Like I keep saying, don't have to worry about that. You've done all kinds of things for me already, Kyoko.
はい、誠くんならそう言うと思っていました。それでもやっぱり感謝していますし、何かしないと気が済みません。もちろん自分のわがまま、気持ちの押し付けだということは分かっています。だからこれは私の甘えなんです。
She smiles shyly and looks deep into my eyes. Kyoko's so cute, even sensual. She's overflowing with a kind of irresistible charm that really gets a man going.
誠くんがいなかったら私は今もここに一人で閉じこもっていましたから。あの時と比べたら今の私は生まれ変わったようなものですね。何度も言うようですけど、誠くんにはどれだけ恩を返しても返し足りないくらい本当に心の底から感謝しているんです。ですから誠くんのために何かしたい。どんなことでもします。私。
She looks at me helplessly. I can tell she's absolutely serious. She really is willing to do anything for me. I don't even use a kotodama on her.
だからお願いします。私に誠くんのために何かさせてください。身の回りのお世話でも使いっ走りでも命令してください。
You put me in a tough situation. I really don't know what to tell you. If I command her to do something, it'll just turn into a kotodama.
すみません。誠くんを困らせたいわけではなかったんですけど。
As far as I'm concerned, just being my friend is already more than enough.
それは当然のことですから、もっとこう明確な形が欲しいというか。やっぱり私がわがままを言い過ぎなんでしょうか。
She looks down at the
そう
table
ですよ
sadly.
ね。
She looks down at the table sadly. I'm starting to feel bad for her. Isn't there anything I could ask her for? Well, let's see. You're really willing to do anything at all.
はい、どんな小さなことでも遠慮なくどうぞ。
She looks up at me again, smiling in anticipation. Seeing her face lit up with expectation like that makes me want to bully her just a little. In that case, how about we continue what we were doing the other day? Oh, and she's gonna actually want it.
この間の続き。
Well, to be fair, she's the one who straight up said she wanted that to happen. And he's like, how about we continue? Although he's just trying to tease her. Of course, she's like, okay. She cocks her head to the side, puzzled. The way she's so defensive sometimes is one of the cutest things about her. It's a different kind of cuteness from Kokoro's, but cuteness all the same. That's right. Don't you remember? You were reading that romance novel, and we decided to act out one of the scenes from the book, and then the puzzlement clears from her face and she nods, but then she realizes what I mean, and her face lights on fire. Just now, I thought about various things I might ask for. And I realized what I really want from you is to let me help you with something you want. Sumari, I want you to let me grant your wish. What do you think? That day, my kotodama revealed she was hoping I'd kiss her, and that we might go even further. That's how I know it wasn't a lie or a joke. It's what she actually wanted deep down. And of course, I'd love to give it to her, too. Making love to... I knew it. Making love to Kyouko was even one of the last regrets I weaved into the kotodama. I spoke Azuki's I do remember that shit. Yes, that did happen. I'll never forget the way I felt that night, and I owe it to myself to grant my own wishes too when I can.
そのお気持ちはすごく嬉しいんですけど、でもあれの続きってその要するに
In front of Suzuka, by the way. Right. That day you said you thought I was about to kiss you, and you hoped I would, didn't you? You even wondered if we could go even further than that. Technically, I forced her to say it with my kotodama, but it's true that she was thinking it to herself. So I thought maybe you were interested in that kind of thing, or had a desire to do it one day.
それは
Even her ears are red now. Her voice is becoming mumbly. Standing face to face with me, but too embarrassed to meet my eyes, she looks off in a strange direction.
確かにありますけど、そのしたことないので。
Oh, really? She's a shoujo. I thought so.
当たり前ですよ。そんなことする相手今までどこにも。でも誠くんは違うんですよね。
Yes, this wouldn't be my first time.
よかった。
I thought she might be unhappy that I'm not a dote, but she actually seems relieved instead. Still, when she slowly turns back to face me, she looks troubled. You don't want to, after all.
いえ、そのわかりました。しましょう続き。いえ、させてください。
Remember, in front of Suzuka, by the way. Apparently, she's made her decision. Okay, I'm happy just to be able to share a kiss with Kyouko. If it leads to something more, they'll be even better. All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm ready to also go through the same sheet again. I'm ready to go through the sheet. I did say earlier that I wanted to see an Asian Kyoko within the next 2 to 3 hours. And here we are. I'm bringing my face closer to hers. It almost seems like I'm cornering her, but maybe from her perspective, that's exactly what I'm doing. Seeing her face close up, I can really see how overwhelmingly attractive she is. Something stirs in my chest. Her fair, smooth skin, her long, delicate eyelash, her plump, sensuous lips. To be a little vulgar, she has the kind of smoking hot body a man would die for. I reach out and touch that body. I can tell she's nervous. As my fingers touch her lower back, she trembles and lets out a whimper. Are you nervous? Did that feel ticklish? I doubt it would do much good to tell her to try to relax.
いえ、大丈夫です。私のことはお気になさらず。
Okay, I won't. Oh. As I reach to stroke her cheek, I realize something. I just realized Suzuka's probably seeing all this. Yeah. did they forget about that? She gasped. I guess she had forgotten too. It's only natural, though, since her mind was far too occupied with other matters.
大丈夫そうです。ほら、
Wait, what do you mean? She takes my hand and looks toward the corner of the room. You're right. Suzuka's sitting on the floor, apparently fast asleep. That's so convenient. I didn't know ghosts could sleep. That's so convenient. So bullshit, but okay.
授業中、私は相手ができないので、鈴鹿の方で察してくれるようになったみたいです。
I see. That means she's already developed into something resembling a well-mannered child. She really is changing fast. Then, let's continue.
はい。
I bring my face close to Kyoko's, and insert my tongue between her slightly open lips. I suck gently on Kyoko's lips, then break away with a wet smacking sound. Kyoko stares at me, blinks her eyes in surprise. Kyoko freezes up for a moment, then slowly brings her fingers up to her lips. And then a second later, Kyoko's face flushes scarlet like a rose in bloom.
今、キスしたんですよね。
Yep, I did.
そうですか。
When I nod, Kyoko's eyebrows furrow slightly. Judging from Kyoko's expression, I guess I screwed up. Nah, Kyoko, you didn't like it when I kissed you? You're making a face like it was a letdown or something.
全然、そのようなことは全くありませんから。ダメだとかでは、むしろ、良し悪しを判断できる状態ではなくて。
Hmm? What do you mean? When I tilt my head in confusion, Kyoko continues, face still red as a beet.
せっかく、初めてのキスを、誠くんとしたのに、急すぎて、全く覚えていませんでした。
So, you need some remembering. Oh, so that's what was bothering her. Well, in that case, how about I give you one more so you can get a better sense of what it's like? I reach to Kyoko's downturned face and tilt her chin up with my hand. And without wasting another second, I press my lips against hers. This time, it's not just our lips touching. I stick my tongue into Kyoko's mouth and intertwine it with hers. Kyoko's tongue is warm and tastes slightly sweet. I stretch my tongue out and lip up Kyoko's tongue as she tries to push further down to the back of my throat. The sides of Kyoko's mouth caresses my tongue from its tip to its surface to its underside. When our lips separate, Kyouko starts inhaling hurriedly as if she suddenly remembered how to breathe. Were you holding your breath?
すみません。びっくりして忘れていました。次はもう少し上手にできると思います。
No need to apologize. I didn't get the hang of kissing at first either.
そうですか。
Anyway, what do you think? Of the kiss, you weren't as nervous this time, right? I flash her a smile, and Kyouko looks up at me shyly.
今のも急だったのでよくわかりませんでした。ですのでそのもう一度していただければ。
Man, that's just so cute. You know, what it'll feel like if you do it one more time. Wait, sorry, remember. You'll know what it feels like if you do it one more time.
はい、多分ですけど。
本当? You should just come out and say you want a kiss.
すみま
I think you should be a little more straightforward about what you want, Kyouko. Especially with stuff like this.
せん。素直な欲求。誠くんにめちゃくちゃに
Base?
ですか？
Base? Yo! Yo! Is that really what you want me to do?
少し大胆だったでしょうか。
Kyouko sure does say some stuff that's pretty out there sometimes. But when I see her fretting like this, I feel my excitement start to rise as well.
誠くん、手が当たって。
It wasn't by accident. I'm trying to fondle you. In order to prove to her that it was on purpose, I sink my fingers into her breast.
私の胸、誠くんに触ってもらってる。すごい形変わってる。いや。
When I put a little more strength into my caresses, I could feel the softness of her breast that even her uniform and bra can't hide. I notice that her tit is big enough that my hand doesn't fully cover it, which totally blows my impression of her being a wayfish little thing out of the water. Wayfish? Huh? Anyway.
誠くん。いや。
The rustling sound of the fabric of her uniform and the intermittent moans that escape Kyoko's lips just fan the flames of my passion.
気持ちいいですか？誠くん、夢中で触ってるので。
It feels awesome. The only reason I was spacing out was because I was still in shock that Kyoko's tits are way bigger than I thought they were. Does having your by touch not feel so great or something, Kyouko?
誠くんに触っていただけるのは嬉しいです。
Well, that kind of lukewarm reaction is to be expected considering it's her first time.
それに喜んでいる誠くんを見るのは嬉しくて、胸の奥がキュンってなります。
I planted a kiss on Kyoko's lips in reaction to her adorable response. And this time, Kyoko takes the lead and sucks back on my lips. Kyoko is engrossed in kissing me over and over. Without stopping her, my hands fumble to unbutton the blouse of her uniform.
誠くん、もっと
Motto. Nani?
キスを。私、いつの間に。
I was thinking this back when you showed me your dress too. But you really are stylish, Kyoko. When she realizes her underwear is on full display, Kyoko reflexively tries to hide her chest with her hands. But since I was predicting she'd react that way, I'm able to catch her arm to stop her with ease. You don't have to hide them, you know.
でも、今日の下着は他人に見せるものではなくて、その少し派手ですし、恥ずかしいです。
What do you mean, flashy? That's I mean, I totally understand on some days that women, you know, there's those days where you just wear your most plain, ordinary ass underwear and just go through a day, and then there's the more special one. But like, let's get down to it, man. Anyway, I think it looks good on you, though. Look, it's drawing my hands toward you like a magnet.
魅力的なんて、ドキドキして、緊張で倒れちゃいそう。でも続けてほしいですけど、その。
Kyoko lets out an adorable little moan, too nervous to be able to put her feelings into words.
肌に直接触れていただければわかると思いますけど、鼓動がすごくて。
Are you trying to say that? Are you trying to say you want me to touch you?
いえ、そういう意味では。
Then I better stop, I guess. As I'm about to remove my hand from her breast, Kyoko gently touches me to stop me from doing so. For Kyoko, that must have been a pretty bold move, as she hangs her head in embarrassment and blushes from ear to ear.
やめないでください。もっと誠くんに触ってもらいたいです。
My body feels hot with a mixture of surprise and arousal. I can't believe that Kyoko, of all people, would be so proactive in making her desire known. I feel the desire to embarrass Kyoko even more, welling up inside me. But I squash it, and instead gently shake myself free from Kyoko's grip.
待って、ごめんなさい。嫌とかではなくて、本当に私。
I'm not gonna stop. So Kyoko's breathing gradually steadies, and then she finally draws off into sleep. Even though she hadn't felt pain during her first time, she definitely tuckered herself out. Maybe it was because I was so happy about making her feel good that I ended up being too vigorous with her. We still had time before we had to leave school, So I decided to let Kyoko rest like this for a while. That was a good age scene. It was raw. Like it's how do I say this? It's written like, well, the previous age scenes are straight out just I don't know how to describe it, man. But this feels a little bit, well, okay, I try to compare this with Kokoro, who is also someone who is with Kokoro, there's something about it that's straight up more passionate and less, and it less feels like you're dealing with for someone who's being divergenized for the first time during the first age, her age scene. It doesn't feel like you're dealing with someone who hasn't had any experience at all or something like that. But I mean, she did mention she was doing things to herself and stuff like that. But like here, it really captures the feeling of like you're dealing with someone who is really nervous and like doing it for the first time. Although at the end, it kind of gets like, yeah, the usual eroy shit, man. Anyway, even now that our lovemaking is finished, Kyoko lies back in her chair, still looking dazed or even feverish. From time to time, she smiles to herself and covers her face with her hands, perhaps thinking back to what we've just done. But school will be out soon. We can't stay here in the library prep room forever. Kyoko, can you stand? It's almost time for school to end. Do you think you'll be able to make it home?
大丈夫です。はい、ご心配なく。
Well, you say so. It was your first time, so I thought you'd be pretty exhausted.
そうですね。体は少し疲れてますけど、でも気力はむしろ充実してますから。
Her grin doesn't look strained at all. I'm glad.
むしろ自分でもちょっとなんだかふわふわしてる感じがあって、なんだかまた一つ世界が開けたような気がします。
It was really good for me, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, too. If that's what you mean.
はい、もちろんです。
Good. Well then, let's go, shall we? We get up, collect our things, and leave the room.
と。
But before we're out the door, Kyoko almost trips, and I catch her.
ごめんなさい。なんだか足がもつれちゃいました。
They'll tell me the age scene was actually plot relevant in a way that something just happened. Maybe you should rest a bit longer.
いえ、本当に大丈夫です。
But
念のため手をつないでいただけたら嬉しいなって。
sure, I should have done that from the beginning.
ご迷惑をおかけします。
It's no trouble whatsoever. Hora, take my hand.
ではお言葉に甘えさせていただきますね。
She tentatively reaches out and takes my hand. Her hand is so warm that I almost start sweating. The three of us, Kyoko, me, and Suzuka, start walking side by side. Again, there's no mention of Suzuka because obviously she's conveniently asleep and did not hear her orgasm or whatever. Anyway, Suzuka, who was still sleeping, woke up when Kyoko called her. She almost seems more like a human being than a Yure now. But that makes it even stranger that she disappears from my vision when I let go of Kyoko. People like Kyoko who can see Yure really must experience the world in an incredibly different way. Suzuka is looking forward with a blank expression as she walks, holding Kyoko's hand. To be honest, I still don't know what exactly this Suzuka is. A Yure is a human being's tamashi that lost its body. Karada. At least that's what Kyoko had said. But is it really possible for something without a body like this Suzuka to mature over time? At least, I never heard of any stories about Yure that grow older. And where was this Suzuka prior to the day she appeared before us? Kyouko has been living in this town all these years, hoping against all hope to meet her, but she never appeared until now. So, is this Suzuka really the same Suzuka who went down to the lake with Kyouko on that fateful day 10 years ago? I don't know. I had no proof, beyond the fact that Kyouko believes her to be the same Suzuka. If only Koichi could see Yura too, then we might be able to get an independent confirmation. However, seeing Kyouko so happy as she looks at Suzuka, I can't help but be glad that things had turned out this way. I'm glad about it, I really am, and yet I sense something dangerous about it. There's almost no doubt that this Suzuka is the reason that Kyouko and I can't physically stray apart from each other. And that strongly suggests that there was some kind of transfer of power between the two of us. Judging from how I can see Yure when I touch Kyouko, there must be something about each of us that resonates with each other, somehow. I'm just hypothesizing, but maybe it's relevant that she comes from a family of priests that has run a jinja for many generations. Maybe there's a trace of divine blood running through her veins too, albeit not as strong as in someone like me or Mana.
誠くん、どうかしましたか？
She stops walking and looks at me worriedly since I've been thinking wordlessly for a while.
男の人も直後って疲れたりするものなんでしょうか？
No, I'm fine. No problem at all. I never thought a girl would ask me something like that. I suddenly realized that Suzuka is looking at me too, just like Kyouko is. Well, regardless of her true nature, this Suzuka exists here, right in front of us. And there's no question whatsoever that she is having a positive effect on Kyouko. For now, that's good enough for me. All I can do is pray that things keep going as well as they have so far. The three of us keep walking, casting only two shadows. Kyouko is in the middle, with me on the left and Suzuka on her right. Kyouko seems truly happy. Kyouko, it's dangerous to be walking without looking where you're watching.
すみません。気をつけます。
I think she's in even higher spirits than before. That's understandable, though. Just now, Suzuka squeezed her hand and smiled at her own accord. Smiled back at Suzuka. Kyouko must have noticed Suzuka's rapid growth too.
鈴鹿、だんだん感情、自我が戻ってきていますね。
That does seem to be the case. Technically, I never met Suzuka when she was alive, so I can't really say, but if Kyouko thinks so, she must be right. It's kind of mysterious, really. What exactly is the logic behind it? Obviously, the existence of Yura is mysterious in of itself. But even given that, it's strange to think of a Yura that slowly gains its own self-awareness and grows and matures. Mysteries upon mysteries.
なんとなくなんですけど、この鈴鹿は私たちの子供みたいなものじゃないかと思うんです。
Our kodomo? You mean you and me? What is this rather sudden metaphor? Is she thinking this way because we just had sex?
はい。
She nods, blushing.
私と誠くんは多分もともと重なる部分があって、こうしてくっつくと私の力が誠くんにも伝わるのもそれが理由だと思います。
That's exactly what I've been thinking.
もしかしたらその逆もあるのかなって。
The opposite.
今まで私がどんなに強く願っても鈴鹿の幽霊と会うことは叶いませんでした。でも誠くんと一緒にいたあの時に鈴鹿は現れた。
That's true. It seems Kyouko was thinking the same things I was.
だから私の願いを誠くんが叶えてくれたんだって。誠くんの力が合わさることで私一人では届かなかった思いが鈴鹿の元へ届いた。それに応えて鈴鹿はやってきてくれたんじゃないかって。
Ah, Soka. So that's what she means. That explanation is rather convenient for Kyouko, but it is a convincing one to an extent.
ということは 私と誠くんの距離が近づけばそれだけ鈴鹿に気持ちが伝わるんじゃないかとか。
What? Are we gonna have more age scenes and Suzuka becomes more... Okay.
なんてもう推測じゃなくて願望入ってますけど。
You mean that if you and I sex more, then Suzuka will develop faster? I do feel like the connection between Kyouko and me has become stronger now that we made love to each other. It's also true that Suzuka looks more definite to me than she did before.
あくまで仮説と呼ぶのもおこがましいくらいの推測ですけど。
Plot related age scenes, we are so back. Well, since we have so little information, it's as good a hypothesis as any. But it could also be that Suzuka is just naturally maturing over time, or it could be a combination of both. If we want to find out, we could have sex again and see what happens. She tightens the grip on my hand in surprise. You don't want to?
いえ、全く私もしたいです。
She looks up at me with a serious look, then realizes what she just said and looks down in embarrassment. Really, I'll never get tired of looking at this girl. When we reach home, I go to my room and change my clothes. I think I'll take a shower before dinner.
本当ですか？
Kyouko, どうしたの？
すみません。つい興奮してしまって。
Excited? By Mana? Really?
おかえりなさい、お兄ちゃん。
I like how she kept up the Oni-chan thing going on. Even though more or less they're aware of each other's situations. She still kept at it anyway. In contrast to Kyouko, Mana looks exactly as calm as always. Thanks. You're pretty calm, Mana.
驚きはしたけれど、ありえないことでもないと思ったから。
What isn't?
マナちゃん、鈴鹿のことがちょっと見えるようになったみたいなんです。
Nani? In surprise, I turn back and stare at Mana.
そうはっきりと見えるわけではないけれどね。ぼんやりとなら。
She looks toward a point in space. That must be where Suzuka is standing. Is it just Mana? How about Asagi-san and Kokoro? They still can't see her, can they?
はい、気づいた様子はありません。
Sokka. Mana certainly has divine blood in her veins, and I know her power is much stronger than mine. But still, the only person so far who has been able to see Suzuka besides Kyouko and me is Hotaru. Now Mana can see her too. What exactly does this mean?
でもそれだけじゃないんですよ。
She takes my hand, and suddenly I'm looking at a close-up of Suzuka's face. Oh, there. Oh, wait. I guess there's no need to dodge. But Kyoko said there was something more. Could it be that Suzuka is tangible now? Just as I thought, Suzuka reaches out her hand toward me. Could it be? Could it really be?
触れない。
Oh, she's now saying words. Oh, she can speak now.
はい、そうなんです。
She did say Kyoko's name when she first appeared, but since then she hasn't said a single word. Her growth has truly been astoundingly fast. It's like she's evolving before our eyes. At this rate, she'll be able to hold proper conversations with us before too long. She nods happily. If Suzuka becomes able to have a conversation, and that she has her memories from when she was alive, then Kyoko will finally be able to dispel the regrets she held onto for so many years. Best of all would be if, after that, Suzuka were able to leave this place to go to her final rest.
このまま鈴鹿が他の人にも見えるようにならないでしょうか。そうしたら浅川くんとも合わせてあげられるのに。あまり過度な期待はしない方がいいと思うわ。幽霊はあくまで幽霊。生き返って人間になるなんてことはないでしょうから。
While I was searching for the words, Mana said exactly what I wanted to tell Kyoko.
そこまでのつもりではなかったんですけど。過去を変えることはできないのよ。 たとえ言霊の力を使ってもね。その子が死んでしまったという事実、これは覆らない。
It sounds like a heartless declaration, but I'm sure Mana is making it out of worry for Kyoko. In truth, even if everyone could see Suzuka, we couldn't very well go shouting it from the rooftops. We could try saying she never died and just went missing and now she's come back, but that couldn't explain why she doesn't look 10 years older now. Even if we tried to force people to accept it using my kotodama, it would just make it would just make too little sense to work well.
はい。
Kyoko hangs her head gloomily. She must have taken Mana's warning pretty hard. I don't want to make her feel this way, but it has to be said.
そうですよね。すみません。浮かれすぎていたみたいです。
I understand how you feel, but make sure to be realistic, okay? No matter how much fun she's having now, the time to say goodbye will eventually come. It's best if she prepares herself for that as soon as possible. All right, everyone, let's change and go downstairs. And dinner should be ready in any minute. After leaving the two of them in Kokoro's room, I think to myself, if Kyoko becomes dependent on Suzuka and unable to let her go, well, I hope that doesn't happen. She did take Mana's warning seriously after all, and she seems to be receptive to reason. And there's no doubt that Kyoko is still changing every day in a good way. That's all thanks to Suzuka. So emotionally, I want them to be together as long as possible. But for now, I have no idea how long this can continue. Yeah, it's also straining him. I probably should call it in a while. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. Maybe one chapter or a couple more minutes. My body feels heavy. My mind is awake, but I can't sit up. I must be exhausted. I can't even bring myself to open my eyes. All I can move is my hands.
誠くん。
Hmm? Someone is tentatively pushing on my body.
誠くん、朝ですよ。
As the voice calls my name, I slowly come closer to getting up.
朝。
Asa. Wait, what? I blink several times and my bleary eyes begin to clear up. I see that Suzuka is gazing down at me. Is she the one who woke me up? No, of course not. She can't touch me.
誠くん、朝ですよ。起きてください。
Kyoko.
おはようございます。鈴鹿も一緒ですよ。
Oh, she's reacting now. Suzuka nods wordlessly at me, but I can clearly see that emotion has returned to her face. It's pretty late. When I look at the clock, I see that it's much later than when I usually wake up. It seems I've overslept. That must also be why my body feels so heavy.
はい。それで鈴鹿が起こしに行こうって。
I'm surprised she's already able to say full sentences like that. No, actually, I'm even more surprised that she's already able to understand situations like this. Sugoi. I see. Thanks. That's helpful of you, Suzuka. Now I won't be late for school.
うん。
She nods bashfully. She can really speak like a normal child. We're having an actual conversation. Why did they give her like a full sentence, but all she did was like, I can't believe she's grown so much in just one night.
はい。タケノコもびっくりの成長速度です。見た目はそのままですけどね。
You're right. ところで、where are Kokoro and Mana?
もうとっくに起きて下に行きましたよ。
Kyoko is smiling, but I see a bit of shadow in her expression. She must be tired. Kyoko, you don't look so good. Are you okay? Did you not get enough sleep?
睡眠時間は普段通りですが、疲れは少しあるかもしれませんね。
Oh shit, it might be draining the both of them. I mean, do you remember the original Kotodama? Man.
その、昨日はいろいろありましたし、でも休むほどではありませんから。
Are you sure you're okay?
平気ですよ。ちょっとだるいかなくらいで。それに私が休むと誠くんまで休む必要がありますよね。
Well, that's true. We had to stay within 10 meters of each other, after all. If you say you're okay, I believe you. But don't push yourself, okay? It's important not to miss class, but staying healthy is more important.
ありがとうございます。どうぞご心配なく。本当に無理な時はちゃんと無理だって言いますから。
Please do.
ご飯。
Right. It's that time, isn't it? I don't want to keep them waiting, so I better change quickly. I get out of bed and stand up.
それじゃあ下で待っていますから、早く着替えてきてくださいね。
I imagine that Kyouko is leading Suzuka by the hand, though I can't see her. She walks out of the room quickly. Let me see the beginning of the next scene. I might call it. I'm tired. I'm just going here. All right. Looks like I'm enjoying the story too much, and I might just read this for this entire whole week. Anyway, that's it for Amatsutsumi, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you guys on the next upload. Ciao. I have a lot to cut.
1999年の7月世界は終わらないんだよ。20日に世界が終わる。いい？今から飛ぶのよ。力を取り戻すために、世界を救うために。20日に世界が終わるのに、突然なんてありません。やっていていいのでしょうか。世界が生まれた時から定められたことなのです。
聞くがよい。世界は20日で動くものどもよ。これは紛れもない真実だ。
全てを知り、そして全てを知らない間宮君が
昨日はしゃぎすぎた皆さん、レスキュー開始。モーニングレスキュー、モーニングレスキュー、モーニング。
辛いやつを救え、ウコンの力、モーニングレスキュー。
補充しよう。
ハッピーバースデー